Yo, what is going on, everybody? The final stream of Resident Evil until Requiem comes out. I'm excited for that. Because yeah, I am interested to see what that's about. They're mixing two different types of gameplay, first person with third person. I could choose to do both if I want to. If I'm feeling nasty, I could do both, but yeah, hopefully guys stick with me for this journey, and yeah, we're just about to are we talking, we not talking anymore. Oh my god, I got a headache, y'all. I need some Tylenol. Yes. So off screen, I just got the mold for the ball and the key because I didn't feel like wasting y'all time for that. So hopefully y'all don't hate me for that. And yeah, and I did the ball puzzle, which took me 30 minutes because, like, for some reason it was hard to do.
You really are a tough one.
Yes, please be.
But I'm tired of chit-chat. Time to die. You can hear it, can't you? Someone's waiting for you.
Is it my daughter? Because if it ain't my daughter, I do not care. Completely invincible head on, but the dumbass managed to chop its own arms off on the propeller. Also issues with the overheating from running for too long. Okay, so get it to overheat. I'm gonna have to fight that guy. Helicopter, helicopter. That's the guy that I have to fight.
I don't have time for this bullshit. Out of my way!
Okay, I'm trapped. All right, where did he go? Ooh, okay, this has presented a problem to me. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is so infuriating.
Now stay down.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, my God. Overly complicated for no reason. Helicopter. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I got a cigar. Great, awesome. Miranda is abominable. Her deceit knows no bounds. Her greed sickens me. Okay, I have barely like anything. Okay, I feel like this is also going to be a boss. Because I still have to battle Heisenberg. Yep, don't like this. Okay, we good? Please have stuff in here. There's really absolutely nothing in here. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Magneto. I have no bullets. Please tell me we're not doing this.
Not bad. Not bad, Rangers. You're persistent. But I've got a rebellion too. So stay out of my way.
Ooh, I'm not doing anything. How about we just work together? Give me my daughter and like I killed 2 of y'all already. Oh, he's like flesh and metal. Oh, okay, I was about to say, there is no way I'm surviving that. Yeah, yeah, I'm like, let's tag team her. What are you talking about, Heisenberg? You don't even need my daughter. I've been doing well with these bosses, and he pushed my goofy ass. All right, Dookie boy, I'm gonna need you to bring the elevator back down here for me, if you could do that. Oh, oh, Chris, Christopher,
I told you to leave it alone.
why are you being like this?
You are in the way.
What do you care, Chris? You killed my wife, you son of a bitch!
You think I killed Mia?
Yeah.
That wasn't her.
What?
It was Miranda.
Huh?
What?
She's a bioweapon.
What is that
Changed her
ridiculous
appearance and
thing?
pretended to be Mia. Seems she also survived being shot, so now I'm here to finish the job.
Bullshit! Why don't you fucking tell me right away?
Yeah, that's what I'm
Because I knew
saying.
you would want to be involved. And this job is hard enough without civilians getting in the way.
Why us, Chris? What the hell is going on?
All right, Ethan. All
You
right.
want to know the truth
I guess I owe you an explanation.
and everything but the truth?
Hand me that wrench.
Okay. So you can hit me upside the head with it? Okay, flashback. Oh,
Long story short, Miranda's fucking insane. In this village, all these monsters and freaks, this is her life's work.
okay.
Some sort of crazy experiment with the mold.
What are you tinkering with over there?
The mold. Like Louisiana. God damn it. All this time, I thought I could save my family. I can't escape from here.
The mold has
I
followed
can't
me?
do anything.
That might not be true. Take a look at this. My men sent those pictures a few minutes ago.
What's that?
Keep looking.
Oh, my baby.
Rose. Holy shit, we gotta go.
Relax. My men are monitoring the situation.
Oh,
But they have
but
my
what does
daughter.
that mean?
You don't get it, Ethan. You don't stand a chance against Miranda by yourself. I will stay down here and finish planting explosives. You take that elevator. I'll meet you topside.
Can I have that
promise you we
thing
will
that's
get
next
your
to you?
daughter back. Together.
Damn straight we will.
Yeah, and why did it take you
When I
this
find
long?
Miranda. She's a dead
Ooh.
All right, Ethan. Then you take this and do me a favor.
What?
Try to stay under the radar.
Yeah, with this big ass death machine? Yo, Ethan coming up in this
Can't
world.
turn back now.
Sucks that he's not in the 9th game, for what we know of. But then again, like, after this, after I get my daughter back, I'm despawning from this planet. You better not talk to me about anything. But however, his daughter is special, so she may be recruited for something later in the future. But who knows? Can I please stop getting health items? I am good on health. I promise you guys that I am good on health. Hound Wolf Squad. Okay. Okay, why am I holding it?
Metal polymer composite, huh? Time to fight fire with fire.
Okay, how would he know that? What did Ethan do for a living before he became the Resident Evil?
I'm coming, Rose.
I am the Resident Evil. Yeah. I'm coming for you, Heisenberg. I am the one who knocks. Hold the ready cannon. And then fire. Alright, open the door. I'm ready to get active. Where's Heisenberg at? See, if you would have saw I had this, we could have tag team Mother Miranda. But nah, he wanted to be an asshole. Oh, okay.
You're like a goddamn cockroach!
Oh, I thought you...
You think you can take me on? Fine. This'll be my warm-up before I kill that bitch. Let's settle this. Man, a man. Your corpse will be another addition
Got
to
you.
my
Oh,
army.
fuck. How long does it take to reload? Ooh, okay.
I need more.
Bitch.
Oh, don't give up. Try hard. Show me what you've got. More. Even more.
Okay, I'm stuck.
So this is the power of fatherly love, huh?
Got you.
That one hurt. My throat. Coward in the face of my steel glory! Guess I do have to thank that bitch surrender for this.
Got you.
Kill her with the power she gave me. That's what I call being a good son! Do you know how I felt? Spending years under the bitch's thumb! The villagers are nothing but a bunch of worthless peons! I'm a goddamn freedom fighter! I'll use your cute
Sir?
to become one. The clock is ticking for you. Look at that door. Quit acting so full of yourself!
Yeah, get the fuck off me. Get off me. Oh shit, was this supposed to happen? Oh shit. Oh, back up, back up. Oh yeah, Chris blew up your shit, huh?
Where my lordy? That boulder punching asshole! But you're first! Right. Just go. Flesh and blood will never win against me! This isn't David and Goliath. It's Ethan and a bloody demise! Too bad I'm your only fan. Huh? Come on!
Ooh, got you. Okay, please, 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 chill, 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 chill.
You really should have taken my deal.
Oh shit.
Only foes in the afterlife.
Oh shit. Oh, what am I supposed to do?
Loses power.
Oh, machine is back in my hand, bitch ass. Oh shit.
This can't be the end for me. I
Sir, if you would have just teamed up with me, and we could have handled this. Me and my little Meg, Chris, in the cut, we could have handled this. But you want to be all like, we need your baby, bro. Watch me whoop her ass without my baby. Watch. Oh, you can't.
Ethan, I heard explosions. What the hell happened?
I handled
dealt with
business.
Heisenberg. Now I'm gonna find Miranda and get Rose back.
Not without me. It's too dangerous. Wait there, you hear me? Ethan?
You must be confused. This isn't Resident Evil 5. I don't need no co-op
Ethan,
partner.
respond.
Oh,
Mia?
Our child. She's so important, isn't she?
She's everything to me.
And mine to me.
that's not Mia.
With Heisenberg gone, you've lost your lead. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna keep crashing out until I find you.
But I'm saving Rose.
You'd never know, do you? Even when I took Mia's place in your home. Poor Ethan.
Who are you? Where's Rose?
Did we do the dirty? Did we smash? Or is that all fake too?
Enough.
Ooh. Hello?
Remember Evelyn and her power over them all?
I try to forget.
Rose is her successor. No. Rose is Evelyn's true complete.
Oh, that's a twist.
She will grow to fully control the masses. And I must have
What? Oh shit.
You crazy bitch!
Calm yourself.
Did you please not?
Rose will be saved. The Megamycete catalogs all of us. However, she will be reborn as my daughter.
She's my child, not yours.
Damn crows, bro. The enemy of my
Where are
my
you?
existence.
Show yourself.
Why did Rose come to be? Was it because
Oh,
of
were you the old lady?
And you are truly a special case. But I've learned all I can from you. Your worth as a lab rat has run out.
Miranda, you coward. Come out and face me.
Oh.
Don't worry. Your death will come quick. You will join the Megamycete.
She's kind of bad, not gonna lie. Oh, did he just rip off my heart?
I will make sure to sample your blood for later. Once dawn breaks, the ceremony will be complete, and I will become her true mother.
Don't worry, I'll pour some
bound
medical
for eternity.
herbs on it and I'll be good. What? My heart.
I've waited so
No.
But dreams really can come true. Vessel or not, I can't wait to see my true child again.
That ain't your baby. Unless we did smash and she did make that baby, then I don't know. How long was she Mia?
Captain, I've confirmed the death of Ethan Winter.
What?
I wasn't able to retrieve the body, but I've recorded evidence.
Share your screen, and I'll go over
Share
the
your
situation.
screen.
My team and I were careless. Yesterday, we took down the transformed Miranda, but we didn't kill her.
Who knew she could fake being a corpse?
Where's Mia though?
Since Miranda could have infected Ethan, I forcefully took him and Rose with us.
Yo, that picture's insane.
But the vehicle they were riding in was attacked. When I got to the wreck, Ethan and Rose were gone. The last time I was able to contact Ethan, I heard Miranda's voice. She murdered him. And she is not gonna get away with it.
Wait, so is this like further ahead?
God damn it, when does it end?
Well, you should be used to people dying on you.
All of it. 3 years trying to put this thing in the ground. 3 years too long.
We'll get her, Captain. The squad's ready for you.
So BSAA got here already. They didn't waste any time.
Mission adjustment.
So are you BSA?
No,
BSAA?
doesn't change anything. Terminate Miranda and rescue Rose. That's the mission. And failure's not an option.
Let's have some fun, people. Like old times.
Move out.
Roger.
Okay.
These faceless goons.
K9, I want to know what the hell BSAA is doing here. Find out what you can.
Roger that. I'm on it.
So Ethan's
Been a
dead.
while since we
I'm
fought
playing as
together,
Chris.
Captain. When was it last? The desert?
Doing nothing but recon's gotten me out of shape.
But thanks to your recon, we know Miranda's plan.
Hold on for
Couldn't
one
quite
second.
believe it when I heard you turn yourself into Mia, though. Taking 5 shots to the head's nothing to sneeze at either. Spooky.
Sorry about that. Alright, playing as Chris. That means all my guns and weapons are my guns are weapons. All my weapons are gone. All my fully upgraded weapons are gone.
Hey, Alpha. Look at this.
BSAA. They've gone too far.
Okay, so you're not with BSSA anymore.
Christ.
Looks pretty rough down there. How are you planning on reaching the objective?
First, we're gonna have to take that thing out.
Got your back, boss.
So what?
Everyone watch for hostile.
I'm probably gonna have to watch that breakdown video.
Made contact with a group of hostile bioweapons.
There's more than we thought. Watch out.
Ooh, okay, thank you.
Western route is clear. Moving out.
Roger that.
BSAA craft spotted. 2 guards. I can take them.
Don't get caught.
Yeah, please don't get cocky. No name person who I'm talking to. Okay, this is the house that burned down. I like how we're working everything backwards. This is closed. It's occupied. Never mind. There was Magnum ammo right here. Well, I guess Ethan's not getting that Magnum ammo.
What the hell is that thing? It's all new to my seat.
That's probably where Miranda is. Let's go. Large mutated bioweapon sighted.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Maybe releasing infectious.
Hold that.
Didn't expect to see the BSAA going so hard.
They had eyes on Miranda, too. Probably felt the call to intervene.
The funny thing is with the promo material, I thought Chris was a werewolf. That's why he was acting weird, because in the artwork, he looked like a wolf.
Hey, boss,
He was like half Chris, half wolf.
location preparing for support fire. Might be a minute.
Roger.
Tundra here, leaving some supplies in one of the houses, Captain. Help yourself.
What's a med injector? Is this like health or? Okay, I'm assuming this is like health. Oh shit. All right, that was close.
Umberise, I need some backup.
I see you. 200 to the point.
All right, give me all of Chris's weapons. They are. Ooh, that was close. So where am I headed to?
I've never heard of a mutant mycete colony growing so huge.
Alright, there we go. Stop! I'm still on normal difficulty, right? Okay, get off. Alright.
Hey, I get eyes on you, boss.
Okay, I understand why they gave me like a lot of.
She thinks she died and gone to hell.
Oh, I thought I popped her head off.
I've reached the target location. Damn, this is big. All right, Lobo. Marking the target.
Roger that, boss.
Is this what I'm marking?
Bingo. All right.
Do I have to do it again?
Reloading now. Just a minute. There's a swarm headed that way.
Ooh. All right, we did it.
Okay, Captain. I'm reloaded. Ready when you are. The mold is rapidly spreading. Must be something sitting about to collapse. Hold your horses. I'm reloading.
Are you kidding me? Okay, well.
It's them.
Oh, he. Oh my God, I'm getting.
BSAA guys are engaging the bioweapons. You're right, Captain. They must be after the Megalites too.
Oh my god, I am getting gang banged. And I say gang gang. Do you gang bang? Okay, chill. I was just joking. Chill.
These things are using weapons. Sure, they're thinking the same about you. Bioweapon numbers are increasing. We need to finish them off quick. Five more from the mountains. East side.
I'm nearby. I'll handle it.
Oh my god, bro. Oh my god! Okay, alright. Y'all wanna fuck around. Alright, there we go.
Take that.
Good. Megamycete must be below.
That was just annoying. That wasn't hard. That was annoying as fuck.
I found a way down. I'm going in. The rest of you stay back.
Captain, I compared the mold at the village with the sample from
thank
the
God.
bakers, and there's no sign of the genome editing we saw in the E-series. The stuff originated here.
Okay, so the Megamycete originated from here. So the mold that they got to make Evelyn came from here.
Guarding the Megamycete, huh? Damn it, getting on. Lobo, I got a tough guy here. I'm gonna need backup.
Boss, you're on the ground.
There's an opening in the roof. Use it.
Okay, I'm moving out. Hold until I get there. I'm overhead, boss.
Good. I'll signal with the locator.
Give a guy a break.
Ooh, got
Thought
you.
so.
Ooh, that was close.
Reloading now. Just a minute. Okay, Captain. Reloading. Ready when you are.
Fuck!
Hold your horses. I'm reloading. I'm
Hostile
reloading.
bioweapon
Where should I
number.
be?
Oh my god. Oh my god, okay.
I'll keep going. The rest of you, stay above ground.
I hope.
So if Miranda was the fake Mia, where's the real one? I doubt she saw any further use for her. I don't get any of this. How did Miranda even know Rose exists?
A moldy little bird told her, maybe?
We can figure that out later. Focus on the plan.
Ooh, okay.
I found
It looks like a giant fetus.
the megamycete. Alpha to squad. I've located the megamycete.
So now we can end this mess after all.
Yeah, blow that shit up.
Damn time.
Blow that shit up before some stupid shit happens.
And 2 explosives armed. There's enough there to blow the whole village sky high.
Let's get out of here and blow the damn place.
Not before I end Miranda. I'm not taking any more chances. I'm going in.
Roger that. Standing by.
Captain, I have eyes on Miranda.
You gonna punch Miranda in the face?
Keep your distance. Do not move until I give the order.
Treat her head like a boulder.
I know it's too late now, but we really should have told Ethan the plan.
There wasn't time. And we didn't expect Miranda to act so soon.
Even so, you should have told him.
Yeah.
Who is this, like, person of reason?
This must be Miranda's lab.
Alciana Dimitrescu. Regeneration incredibly fast. Oh, so like, interesting. So Evelyn was always going to be a thing. Oh, okay. So she was just over here experimenting. Buenavito, favorable, normal, although severe mental illness. Physically, she's no different from a regular human. However, she can secrete signal producing. Okay, so unfit vessel for Eva. Okay. This is Heisenberg. Splendid set. Probably because he's a dude. Maybe that's why. What if he was a suitable vessel? Okay. She about to shit on fucking Moreau. Low. Surprising. Brain function surprisingly low. Damn. And he was the top tier glazer for Mother. Is that Miranda? She kind of bad.
To control the bioweapon.
Is that Evelyn? Okay. We're learning lore. My deepest apologies for not meeting you in person or visiting Quain. Then again, I suppose, blah, blah. For more. Okay. However, many nice intellectual talks. I hope to bring back a single dead per. Experiments on the mold would not have aided me in my endeavor to achieve exponential infection. I thought a virus would be more effective. This is why, my dear, I have to leave you. Holy shit. So the mold came first, and then the Spencer nigga was just like, hey, yo, but what about a T virus, though? What about an A through Z virus, though?
Spencer, here.
So they've discovered the mold together.
No way.
This is Evelyn. My Eva, it's been 100 years since I lost you back in the Spanish flu. Oh, so Miranda is has been alive for a while. Oh yeah, because she was probably talking with like the first Spencer, not like the current one. Or what have you. Who's that? Oh, that's Mia to the far right hand side. And the dude that's me mugging in the back was that guy that we met in Mia's flashback or whatever. Yo, Miranda bad as fuck though. She don't need to be doing all this. We can naturally create a baby. We don't need to. You over here trying to regenerate somebody. Start anew, please. You interested in making a biracial baby? Oh fuck!
Show me your hands.
She's always in a jail cell.
Bryce, this is Alpha. Where is Miranda right now?
Still at the ceremony site. Whatever she's doing, she's staying put.
God damn. It really is you. I'm glad you're safe, Mia. Why are you here?
What do you mean she's in a jail? She's clearly not there for her own consent.
Houston experiments.
Wait, did you say Mia? Mia Winters?
In the flesh. What's the situation up there?
Kind of a war going on. Nothing we can't handle.
Don't get distracted.
Well, Ethan is dead.
Stick to the mission. I'm headed to the ceremony site.
Wait. You can't leave me here. You promised, damn it. You said that you would keep us safe. We did everything that you asked. We moved over here, everything. And I didn't care. So long as we were together. So you tell me, where is my husband? Where is my daughter?
Ethan is gone.
What?
I couldn't save him. But I can save Rose. Come on. It's not safe here after all.
What do you mean he's gone?
He's dead.
He's dead. I'm sorry, Mia, but we have to leave. We have to destroy this village.
No! You're wrong. I tried to keep this a secret, but... you don't understand how special he is.
Okay, go on. Do I have special powers? So Ethan is still alive.
What's going on? Someone there? It's cold. How did I get here? God, it's freezing.
What the hell?
This shit in my body.
Yeah, well, you ain't got no heart. No wonder you're cold. Was it because I was infected during like Resident Evil 7?
Evelyn? How are you here?
You're dead.
I'm sorry?
Dead? I mean, Miranda. She... no. I still have to save Rose.
Wrong! It wasn't Miranda. You were always dead.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry?
I can still...
See? Miranda didn't kill you. You mean you didn't think it was weird.
Okay.
No matter how much you got hurt. Remember.
Wait, was I dead the entire... When did I die?
3 years ago. The Baker house. You were murdered by Jack.
Oh, so I died at the beginning?
Died there 3 years ago.
That's impossible. No way.
You shouldn't even be able to walk around.
Quit messing with my head.
You shouldn't be walking.
Screw you! Then what am I? I did all that. Rose. Mia.
But I'm still alive though. I'm dead, but I'm also alive. Oh, and that's why I can put myself back together, because technically I'm not...
Now do you get it? Your whole body is nothing but mold. You can't ever see your family again.
I'm mold.
Family. No. Rose. I have to save my daughter.
You're already dead. Dead.
But I was alive enough to create a daughter.
I will save Rose.
So I was always mold.
At last, he awakes.
Is it the goat?
Where am I?
My carriage, Ethan. You were having a nightmare.
Dookie, I found out that I'm mold.
Your battle with Heisenberg was a sight to see. But to think Miranda would show herself.
How long have I been out?
Not long till dawn.
Duke, I need a favor. Take me to Miranda.
I assumed as much and am already on the way.
Yo, the Duke is a G.
You should arrive shortly.
Thank you.
But Ethan, are you sure of this? Your body is, well, falling apart.
Yes.
Foolish of me to ask.
Speaking of foolish questions, who or what are you?
Even I can't quite answer that.
So are you human? Are you another product of the Godot? Or are you just like really fat?
Mr. Winters, I'm afraid you can't return to your old world any longer.
What?
Are you ready?
Yeah, I have to be.
What does that mean? Am I going to die again? Well, I'm already dead.
I gotta go.
Wait, how are you? What was pulling? Okay.
Do be sure you're prepared.
Well.
Oh, the assemblage of life and machine. I can feel Lord Heisenberg's essence through it. Leave this to me. What? Ah, it's fine. All finished. Choose wisely. Your life may depend on it.
Wait, actually cancel. Can I make some Magnum bullets, please?
Amat Victoria Koram. Please, be well.
Thanks.
All right, cool. I don't know why you had to like. Okay. Yeah, I'm still on standard difficulty. I'm going to see if I have the key to get to this now. Never mind, they took it away from me. Or no, this is the wrong way, because I'm going backwards. Never mind, I lied. They did take it away from me.
Out of my way.
Time to fight. No, I ain't got time to worry about y'all.
I gotta keep going.
It's time to beat. It's time to beat this bitch's ass.
Little Ava, my beautiful daughter. Come to me. Ava, is that you?
No, that's Rose.
How I've missed you. What? My power is leaving me.
Yeah, because you over here doing this.
Rose! Miranda!
Interesting. Your body certainly isn't normal.
Yeah, that's because I'm built different.
Give Rose to me. Now!
Can you drop her or lay her down?
Once I kill you properly, everything.
Get her now!
Ooh! Chris!
Let go!
I've spent a lifetime creating this moment. And you try to take it away from me.
Oh.
I will take what is due.
Could you please?
My desires will be fulfilled.
Are you kidding me?
Rose is mine!
Drop her.
What the fuck?
Oh.
You fulfilled your purpose, Mr. Winters. You disposed of my false children and awakened the glorious Nicholas. Now, please do not worry for little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her with truth.
Oh, shit.
I'm not letting you get away.
nothing.
Okay.
I shall finish this. Don't resist.
Yo, you do so much damage.
You understand the love of heritage, child. How can you deny me?
Why the hell can't you realize Rose is my goddamn kid, not yours?
You won't interfere. Your time is up! Now die! The Megamycete saved me from the pits of despair.
Okay.
It granted me this splendid...
Like, that's good for you and all. Okay, I got 2 more.
Power!
Yeah, right. All it's done is drive you nuts.
Will this kill you?
Can't reload!
I can take any form I desire. A hammock. Even your lovely wife.
Oh, this is annoying.
After all, everyone dies.
Are you kidding me?
Such vitality. Disgusting. Die.
Where?
Hold still. Die and be swallowed into the Megamycete for all time! None shall interfere in my grand designs. If I combine Rose with a Megamycete, my daughter will be made manifest at last! A century! A century! All for this day! You still stuck. This is... Surely you have no need of Rose now. So close to death.
She's my goddamn daughter, you psycho!
Okay.
I've never seen a human live without his heart. Are you sure you're not? You won't interfere.
Fuck!
Why won't you die?
Fuck! Oh, so annoying, bro. Damn. Okay, actually equip. No!
Little Eva, my beautiful daughter. You fulfilled your purpose, Mr. Winters. You disposed of my false children and awakened the glorious Necromancer. Now, please do not worry for little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her with true happiness. So now you can die peacefully. You understand the love of a parent.
Not letting you get away.
How can you deny me?
Why the hell can't you realize Rose is my goddamn kid, not yours?
Cease this foolishness. The Megamycete saved me from the pits of despair. It granted me this splendid power.
Yeah, right. All it's done is drive you nuts.
Do you understand what you're doing?
Okay, could you please? Alright, this is why I hate this gun.
Everyone dies.
Okay, this is why I hate this gun, because for some reason it won't switch.
Such vitality. Die. Die and be swallowed into the Megamycete for all time! Cease! If I combine Rose with a Megamycete, my daughter will be made manifest at last! A century! All for this day! Why do you persist in this feelings? Why do you interfere? Surely you have no need of those now, so close to death.
She's my goddamn daughter, you psycho!
I will not let him or anyone else take Rose or my daughter from me. How about this? Why won't you? I can take any form I desire. A bird. Even your lovely wife. The villagers, those foreigners. They could do nothing to assuage my years of loneliness.
Ever think the problem might be you, Miranda? You're not capable of real love.
Just your life is over, Mr. Winters. Why do you still fight? Your time is up! Now die! For my daughter! None shall interfere in my...
Ooh, ooh. Okay.
This is
I have one more magnum bullet.
To ensure I never see your face again, I will feed you to dogs. Every single centimeter.
Oh my god, that was close. I hate when they do that. I hate when they lock me in a cutscene with a gun with one bullet. Oh my god. Get out of here. The baby is mine. I won the custody battle. I like this boss battle way more than like Resident Evil 7's battle. Like this blows Resident Evil 7 out the water. I'm sorry.
Rose.
So she was just chilling in there.
Shh. Shh. It's all right, Rose. It's all right.
My little mold baby. Oh no. I'm molding up. This sucks.
Ethan!
She ain't gonna know all the work I put in.
Come on, Ethan. Come on, Ethan, wake up. Oh no.
Chris.
Ethan. You did it. It's finished.
I think we've finished each other.
Ethan. We gotta move.
Oh. What am I supposed to do?
Keep moving, Ethan. There's a bomb in that thing that'll blow this whole village sky high. Hey, look at me. When I hit this trigger, we can't be anywhere near it. Ah, damn it. Mia's waiting for you. She's alive, you hear me? Alive.
I mean, don't tell him that. Then now he's good to die.
I'm so sorry. I love you. Keep Rose safe.
Hey, hey.
Was he talking to Chris?
Hey. And you tell yourself. Now, come on, it's not that much further.
Watch over her. Teach her to be strong.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't ask to raise a kid.
God damn it.
So we never get to see his face. Oh, he has the bomb.
Goodbye, Rosemary.
You're trusting Ethan to get that off before he dies. Chris.
Ethan.
Well, this is why he's not in Resident Evil 9. Never mind. Hurry up before you die.
Rose?
Go. Go, take us up now.
He's gonna be like, wait, where's Ethan?
Wait! Where's Ethan?
Ma'am, you should have knew what was gonna happen.
Get moving. We have to get clear.
No! We can't go, not without my husband!
Mia, sit down and strap in.
Not before you tell me where Ethan is.
Chris doesn't want to talk about
You wouldn't
anything.
abandon us. Tell me what's going on. Where?
That's where Ethan is.
What was that?
Sit down.
Really miss my nigga.
Where is he? Chris? What have you done?
He's gone.
Oh, I thought he hit her. I
tried. He stayed so we could all escape. I'm sorry.
Captain, you need to see this.
Ethan's face is in the sky,
PSAA
doing a thumbs up.
soldiers. This is a bioweapon.
What the hell were they thinking?
Oh, interesting.
Orders, Captain.
Pick up the rest of the squad. Plot a course for BSAA Europe HQ. Someone's got to pay.
Okay, setting up a plot line. So BSAA, Chris is no longer with, and then now they're using bioweapons as soldiers. Interesting. So I wonder, is this setting up for Resident Evil 9? I don't know. I don't know what their plan is, honestly. Can we get a round of applause for Resident Evil? I mean, this is cool and all, but I kind of want to like skip this. See if there's anything afterwards. Wait, is this grown up? Is that grown up Rose?
Do you think the little boy will be able to touch the moon?
Nobody can touch the moon, it's too far away.
Wait, what if he has a rocket ship?
Okay, then you can touch it, but it'd be very, very cold.
You were being silly. I don't think the
Hey, Dad. Happy birthday.
Damn, Ethan is really dead.
Sorry I missed last week. I have a lot of tests coming up. You know how it is. Talk of the goddamn devil. Duty calls. I love you.
So she's like a bioweapon.
Yeah, I found her. Where else? Today of all days.
Is he talking into anything?
We have a situation. You're needed. Evelyn.
Evelyn.
Don't you ever call me that again.
Whoa, it's just a joke.
That's a dick of a joke.
I can show you things even Chris doesn't know I can do.
Hey, yo. What can she do?
Stand down. I can handle it. She's just a kid.
You being an ass, you triggered it.
Keep it together, Rose.
You're a lot like him, you know?
The fuck she is. You're both mold people.
I know.
So you telling me Resident Evil 9 doesn't follow Rose? That seems like I'm kind of cucked out of a journey. Wait, who's walking? This is that a tree? Nah, when I edit this, I gotta zoom in on that because it looks like someone's walking, and they stopped. What's happening? What was that? Okay, the father's story is now done. Okay, cool. I was about to say, like, I didn't do this on casual, I did this on standard. Okay. Okay, that's it, I guess. I can buy Resident Evil Requiem right now. Store online, online store. Why is this mixed reviews on? Oh, the DLC is mixed reviews. Hold on. I'm just checking something real quick. All right, just checking something real quick. All right, so there's a supposed DLC, but I don't have it, and it's not included in this edition, I don't think. Hold on. Okay, so I guess we're not doing the DLC. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We've only been streaming for about an hour or so. That kind of sucks. Give me 1 second. We'll watch a video. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Resident Evil 8. I was expecting there to be a DLC. It's called Shadow of Rose, but it's not available on Steam. I can't find it. And also, like, I'm looking at reviews, people are saying it's not really that good. So I think we dodged the bullet on that one. So give me 1 second and we are going to we're going to watch some Resident Evil timeline stuff, because in order to get reacclimated with what's going on in Resident Evil, all right, we're going to be watching oh my god, that's 2 hours long. This is 7 hours long. Okay. How are we going to do this? This is updated from 3 years ago. Okay, so I think we have time to watch one. So we're going to watch watch this and put it on 0.5.
Welcome to part 1 of a 3-part series where we'll be going over the entire story from the Resident Evil franchise. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but with Resident Evil 9 on the horizon, this is the perfect time to take on this mammoth project. How the videos will work is like this. In this one, I'll be tackling Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, 3, and Code Veronica, and also Survivor from the PS1, as these titles all take place between July 1998 and December 1998. In part 2 of the video series, I'll be doing the Dark Side Chronicles, the Umbrella Chronicles where relevant, Resident Evil 4, Revelations, Resident Evil 5, Revelations 2, and Resident Evil 6, along with a couple of the CGI movies. And finally, in part 3, we'll be looking at Resident Evil 7, its DLCs, 8, Shadow of Rose, and 9. But there's not much else to say now other than there will be spoilers for the entire Resident Evil series, so let's begin. A great place to start this video is to look at the origins of the overarching antagonists of the Resident Evil series, and that is the Umbrella Corporation. But we'll first focus upon one of the founders of Umbrella, and that is Oswell Earl Spencer. The Spencer family, when Oswell was growing up, were among the elites of European social circles, but by the time that Oswell came to inherit his family's fortune, the state of the Spencer legacy had deteriorated somewhat. Growing up, Oswell took a keen interest in eugenics, and it was through this interest that he
So Oswell is the person that Miranda was talking about, or talking to, and he got his shit from Miranda.
British explorer named Henry Travis, and the book documented a 3-decade journey through Africa in which Travis documented plants and animals along with the indigenous that lived there. But back to Spencer. He would go to university in order to study medicine, and would meet 2 people there, a James Marcus and an Edward Ashford. Their importance will become clear later on. Spencer went on his own jaunt across Europe, visiting such places like Romania, where he almost died and visited a small village. He worked with a woman there called Miranda, who was working with a black substance which itself had the ability to mutate. She wished to use this to revive her dead daughter who had died from Spanish flu. Oswell, despite respecting Miranda, parted ways with her as his worldview and his goals were vastly different from hers. Nonetheless, he was inspired.
You hope to bring back a single dead person while I aim to change the world. Okay. Yeah, I've read that.
The human race was ineffective and destined to destroy itself at some point. He believed that humankind needed to evolve to survive, so he started to study the field of virology. Oswell then formed a eugenics circle, inviting James Marcus and Edward Ashford. 2 others would join too, but they aren't really important to the wider story. Anyway, Oswell jumped back into the adventures of Henry Travis and read about a plant in his book that an ancient tribe in Africa called the Ndipaya would use as part of a ritual. The flower contained a poison within it, and after consuming it, one particular member of the tribe would mutate, obtaining superhuman abilities, and grew very tall as a result. This tribe would then live under the rule of this mutated king, who lived for centuries. And the tribe built an underground city using reflective construction techniques, and these techniques would allow the sun to shine underground into the city, thereby creating an environment for this flower to grow. The discovery of this plant was exactly what Oswell, and by extension the eugenics circle, are looking for. A potential virus able to create mutations in human beings. So in 1966, Dr. James Marcus and another man, a Dr. Brandon Bailey, set out on a short expedition to the savannah in order to find this flower. Finding it along with the underground city, the virus in the flower, upon further study, did indeed contain within it an RNA virus.
Okay.
Upon isolating this virus and having to deal with regular attacks by the Ndipaya tribe, the 2 returned home with what they had named Progenitor, and their plan was for it to eventually be used militarily. They were having problems though, in that they were having trouble recreating the conditions in which the flower could not only thrive, but keep on producing the virus within it. With lack of results and no breakthroughs, Brandon Bailey would return to Africa to continue his research there, whilst Dr. Marcus would stay in the US at the request of Spencer. After a breakthrough in which the progenitor being exposed to a cell caused the cell to revive and mutate, Spencer wanted to fund this research even further, so he set up a company with the purpose of using that company as a front for their research into the progenitor virus. And
okay. Breaking it down, Oswald Spencer trying to discover a way to mutate and evolve humanity. His research took him to both Africa as well as Europe, where he met Miranda. She was more obsessed with the mold because she was trying to just bring back her daughter or whatever. And then Spencer was like, hell no, I need to advance society. We need to get this shit up and running. And he went to Africa where there was this flower. This is Resident Evil 5, or the main antithesis of Resident Evil 5. They ate the flower and it mutated the leader of an African tribe a long time ago. And then like, okay, I get so I get it now.
By the funding needed. Spencer had the logo resemble a symbol he'd seen in Eastern Europe, in the village, which was the symbol of the 4 houses of families in the area. This also inspired the name of the company too, with it being called Umbrella Pharmaceuticals. Spencer then offered Dr. Marcus a job, as he'd now set up the Spencer Foundation. Dr. Marcus would be able to continue his research into this virus, but on the strict condition that his research results were to be reported to Brandon Bailey, and only Brandon Bailey. Spencer would set up a facility located in the Arklay Mountains, and it would become the home of the Umbrella Executive Training School, for which Dr. James Marcus would become the director. The training school itself served to recruit child prodigies and train them, or rather indoctrinate the young scientists, into advancing Umbrella's research. This is where James Marcus would carry out his work. He wasn't too bothered where he did the research, as all he cared about was his work on the virus. Brandon Bailey would stay in Africa in the meantime, with Spencer and Umbrella having hired a number of mercenaries to keep the Ndipaya at bay. He would cultivate more progenitor cultures, and these would be sent to Dr. Marcus back at the training school. Work would then commence on facilities there in the ruins of Africa, much to the annoyance of Bailey as the construction was interfering with his own research. Another laboratory would be built in the Arklay Mountains, and Spencer would hire renowned New York architect George Trevor to design and build a large mansion to sit on top of limestone caverns, inside which Spencer had built a lab, where additional research could be carried out in secret, with this laboratory simply being called the Arklay Laboratory. The 2 sites would be connected via a railway system that Umbrella would use in order to transport staff and researchers to and from the facilities, this train being called the Ecliptic Express. The mansion itself was designed to be very similar to Spencer's mansion in Europe, and was to have a number of secret rooms and traps. But when George had finished it, Spencer planned to dispose of George, his wife Jessica and 14-year-old daughter Lisa, managing to do so only because George knew all the mansion's secrets.
Okay, so and then this is the Leatherface daughter or whatever, because he does experiments on them, and then like, okay.
Waste not, want not, and Spencer had both Jessica and Lisa used as test subjects to further their research on the progenitor virus. Anyway, nothing significant would happen at the training school until the year 1978, when the assistant director of the school, who would be the one to educate the students, would write about 2 standout scientists that had joined. These two were Dr. Albert Wesker and Dr. William Birkin. The two were ruthlessly competitive and were even described as cruel by the assistant director, but Wesker in particular is someone that Oswald Spencer is familiar with. Project W was a eugenics program developed by Oswald Spencer, as he wanted to produce what he considered a superior race of human beings. The W, as you'd probably have guessed, stands for Wesker, after a Dr. Wesker, the guy who ran the program. Essentially, gifted children from all over the world would be kidnapped and would be raised with a high level of education and would be raised by the ideals of Spencer himself. All these children would then receive the last name Wesker. There are at least 13 of these Weskers, as detailed on a computer entry in Spencer's mansion over in Europe.
Interesting. Okay, so they're like kind of adopted.
Albert was one of these gifted children, as was another, a woman who'd received the name Alex Wesker. Difference between the two, though, is that Alex was told about this program, as opposed to Albert, who was not. Like most other Project W subjects, Albert had gone out into the world and ended up working for Umbrella through the training school. All the Wesker children were given an experimental virus, and this was phase 2 of the plan. It was designed to set apart the ones who were exceptionally gifted from those who were not. There's more to this, but we aren't quite there yet in the timeline. And we'll cover Project W a bit more.
I'm going to look back at the different Weskers.
In Spencer's mansion.
Okay, there's Derek, Hero, William, Alex, Albert.
Receive the last name Wesker. There are at least 13.
Hans, Felicia, Marco, Jonah, Irma, Ken, and Laura. The reason why I'm keeping this in mind, just in case if like in future games they decide to introduce another Wesker.
As detailed on a computer entry in Spencer's mansion over in Europe. Albert was one of these gifted children, as was another, a woman who'd received the name Alex Wesker. Difference between the two, though, is that Alex was gone out into the world and ended up 2 of the plan. It was designed to set apart the ones who were exceptionally gifted from those who were not. There's more to this, but we aren't quite there yet in the timeline, and we'll cover Project W a bit more in part 2 of this video series. So when it came to research on the progenitor virus, there were actually 3 different areas of research. They wanted to be able to produce bioweapons that would rule out any need for a large conventional army, something that the US military could use. Work began on trying to produce the T-virus, or the Tyrant virus. The Tyrant project was essentially, and initially at least, a super soldier program. 3 different strains came out of this. Spencer's project developed the type A and B strains of progenitor, but these weren't very good. Remember I mentioned Edward Ashford? Well, he worked on his own strain in Europe alongside his son Alexander. But that didn't really end up going too well for the Ashfords, as in 1968, the conniving Oswell would arrange for an outbreak at the lab in which Edward Ashford was killed. Finally, it was Dr. James Marcus that managed to produce a usable T-virus strain, reporting his success back to Brandon Bailey over in Africa. He didn't like any of the students working with him on the T-virus research, although his exception to this rule were both Albert Wesker and William Birkin, and such was Dr. Marcus's admiration for them that he encouraged the assistant director of the training school to encourage a bit of competition between the two. Then the breakthrough came after he had introduced the DNA of leeches into the progenitor virus. With this strain now suitable for further research, weapons research to be specific, he would start testing on animals. The animals exhibited increased growth and aggression. He wished, however, to further research onto human test subjects, and he would do this by luring the students of the training school into his lab and he'd tell them to touch the leeches. He would commit terrible acts, and would even subject staff members and students to torture methods, such as gas torture. He would keep some of them for future study. Some of them were experimented on and sent to other Umbrella labs for further research to be carried out on them. But just as Spencer had done with Edward Ashford, he now wanted Dr. Marcus out of the way. In the same year that Wesker and Birkin had joined the school in 1978, thanks in large part to a slew of scandals regarding experimentation, Umbrella had ordered the school to be closed, the lab shut down, and research personnel were to be relocated to different Umbrella
There's a lot of backstabbing and like, see, that's why I couldn't work with them, because this seems underproductive.
Dr. Marcus's completed T-virus strain, which elevated them both to the level of senior researchers at the Arklay lab. Wesker, along with Birkin, then managed to create a new strain derived from Ebola virus, which allowed this new strain to pass the immune system more efficiently. This meant that the subjects not die.
The titular Ebola series
would reanimate. But back to Dr. Marcus. Dr. Marcus was paranoid that Spencer was attempting to steal his data, but Marcus had become quite fond of his leeches. After choosing to stay there at the now closed laboratory and carrying on his research, on January 13th, Marcus would write about his plan to seize control of Umbrella by presenting his research to them. But Spencer knew what Dr. Marcus's intentions were and decided to strike first. And then in 1988, Umbrella Security Services made their way into the lab along with Wesker and Birkin, killing Dr. Marcus. Wesker and Birkin took his T-virus research sample with them to the Arklay lab, and Dr. Marcus, as well as his leeches, including the Queen, were disposed of, albeit rather shoddily. The negligence of the disposal would set off a chain of events that would change the world. But before we look at what that entails, let's look a bit into what Wesker and Birkin would work on. Through further experimentation with using the T-virus on animals, Birkin birthed the Cerberus project, which produced attack dogs, basically. However, like most other animal-type BOWs, these didn't have much sense and were of low intelligence. Other BOWs created were the insect-based chimeras and the reptile-based hunters. They wanted to introduce the T-virus to humans with high intelligence, but the odds of this being achievable were very low. With only a 1 in 1 million chance that someone would have the genetic makeup to mutate into a tyrant, instead of a regular dumb as a stump infected, they'd hit a wall. This is when they turned to George Trevor's daughter Lisa, still alive and being held captive all those years. Essentially, an Umbrella lab in Europe had developed a parasite called Nemesis A, or rather, Alpha. It had been created in order to combat the mental degradation that came with infection by the T-virus. Obtaining one of these parasites, Birkin implanted it into Lisa Trevor, and her body not only was able to destroy the parasite, but absorbed its DNA into hers. A new progenitor strain, which Dr. Birkin called the G, or Golgotha virus, came from this. Birkin considered Golgotha to surpass the performance of the T-virus. So did Oswald Spencer, as it happens, as he was interested in its capabilities in regard to eugenics. Birkin had hoped that him refining and perfecting Golgotha would earn him a seat on the Umbrella board. Birkin would leave the Arclay laboratory soon after at the request of Oswald Spencer, and he would go to France to another research facility where he works alongside a Dr. Christine Henry, a woman who Spencer knew quite well, with Birkin handing over his research on the T-virus to a researcher called John Clemens. Birkin wasn't in France long though, as Umbrella had built a state-of-the-art laboratory in 1991 that itself sat right underneath Raccoon City, being called Nest. And in 1998, Birkin completed his masterpiece, his life's work. At some point, Wesker, who by this point had also had a career in the US military as one of their engineering officers, would be tasked by Umbrella to infiltrate the Raccoon Police's STARS unit, which stands for the Special Tactics and Rescue Service. He became the leader of Alpha Team, pretty much commanding the entire unit. But more on the G-virus a bit later in the video. So with Dr. Marcus's decaying body lying in the water, the Queen Leech entered his mouth, merging its own DNA with his, meaning that the dead James Marcus became infected with the T-virus, at which point the Queen ate part of Dr. Marcus's brain, thereby inheriting his memories. Believing that it had been reborn as Dr. Marcus, it also believed that its main purpose was to get revenge on those responsible for his death. Quite remarkably, this Queen Leech was able to transform its body into what Marcus had looked like in his earlier years. In May 1998, this is when the proverbial would hit the fan. The Queen Leech would then go to the Arclay laboratory and cause an outbreak there, with a whole load of researchers there becoming infected with the Epsilon strain of the T-virus, and as a result of this outbreak, a load of BOWs escaped into the Arclay Mountains. What better way to get back at Spencer and Umbrella than by causing a mass and potentially worldwide outbreak that would destroy not only Umbrella, but the world itself.
Oh, okay.
On July 23rd, 1998, Umbrella's train, the Ecliptic Express, is hurtling through Raccoon Forest, as it's filled with Umbrella staff who have been assigned to rebuild and reopen the training school, when the train suddenly comes under attack by leeches. The Queen Leech is nearby, standing on top of a mountain, and is singing. Everyone on the train is, as a result, infected with the T-virus. 2 hours later, the Raccoon Police Department's Special Tactics and Rescue Service are flying over the mountains via chopper. The team, who make up Bravo Team, are actually there to investigate grisly murders in the Arclay Mountains, as the murders have an element of cannibalism to them. Stars have been sent because Umbrella and the Raccoon Police Department itself tried and failed to explain the murders, resulting in the case being taken over by Stars and the Arclay Mountains being closed off to tourists. The Bravo Team's chopper is downed, and on the ground, the team search the immediate area only to find a crashed vehicle which belongs to the military police. It seems a prisoner, Second Lieutenant Billy Cohen, was being transferred, but the 2 drivers are dead and he is missing. With this now being a priority for them, the Bravo Team leader Enrico orders his team to find and detain Billy Cohen. Not long into her search, the Bravo Team medic Rebecca Chambers comes across the now stopped Ecliptic Express. Stepping on board the train, Rebecca finds blood-stained seats, along with the personal items of people that are missing from the carriage. Moving into the next carriage, she asks anyone there to identify themselves, but finds a dead male in his seat, and his flesh looks rotten. Whilst distracted by a handheld radio, the man gets to his feet and goes for her, and she finds herself surrounded by more undead monsters. Taking them down or escaping, she retreats and finds.
Okay, so this is Zero. This is the game that I didn't play.
Were aware of the rumors around murders in the suburbs and their fear of it potentially being related to the research carried out on the T-virus. In this same car, she finds another undead man, but is approached from behind. To her surprise, it's the missing prisoner, Billy Cohen. He points a gun at her, recognizes her as Stars, and he walks away. Rebecca tells him that he's under arrest, but this does not deter him, and he continues to walk away. At that moment, one of her Bravo Team squad members smashes through the window of the train car. The squad member, Edward, says that the forest is full of zombies and monsters, and he then passes away. Zombie dogs then try to attack Rebecca. In the upstairs section of another carriage, Rebecca finds a load of what looks like eggs there, covered in slime. She gets a call over the radio from her squad leader, Enrico, telling her about Billy Cohen. A document inside his transport states that he killed as many as 23 people.
Oh my God.
And not only that, but he was also institutionalized. This indicates that he's a very dangerous man, and Enrico tells her not to hesitate if she's got the chance to kill him before his transmission goes dead. With no other choice but to move through the train cars, she encounters Billy again. This time, he's a little bit more open to a conversation and suggests because of the dangers present, they should work together. Rebecca is hesitant and refuses, telling Billy that she can handle herself. Moving up to the restaurant car, she finds an elderly man sat at the table. She tries to rouse him, but his head falls off, transforming into a pile of leeches, which themselves form a human shape. Taking the creature down, the leeches go for her, but she is saved by Billy. They both hear the sound of the Queen Leech stood atop a mountain, singing. Of course, they have no idea who this is, but Rebecca does now realize that she is in way over her head, and her best chance of survival is to team up with Billy. The train starts up again and is moving along the tracks, but who is controlling it? Making their way across the top of the train cars, getting separated, and encountering a large Scorpion BOW, they eventually find out that the train has moved as a result of the Umbrella Security Services Delta Squad, who have been ordered to get it moving by Dr. Wesker and Dr. Birkin, so that knowledge of this does not get out. This is also so they, Umbrella, can investigate what happened on the train and destroy the train afterwards. With Delta Squad having been taken out by the leeches, Billy and Rebecca realize that this train is picking up speed and is in danger of derailing. The leeches have also started to hatch from their eggs and will attack Rebecca and Billy. With only a few minutes to slow the train down or to stop it, they manage to slow it, but this still results in a crash, and the train comes to a rather violent stop in what appears to be some sort of underground station. Leaving the now wrecked train, Billy and Rebecca move inside of a building, which is the training school. Rebecca approaches a portrait of Dr. James Marcus and recognizes him as the leech monster in the restaurant car. Billy and Rebecca don't know that they're being watched on the cameras by Wesker and Birkin, and Wesker identifies Rebecca as a rookie STARS member. Wesker doesn't know who Billy is, though. Dr. Marcus's voice speaks over the intercom, reminding people of the Umbrella Company motto, but Wesker and Birkin see that it's the Queen Leech who is broadcasting this message, and they're confused since, to them, Dr. Marcus is long dead. The Queen Leech tells them that he is the reason behind the outbreaks at the school, the train, and the Arkley laboratory, as revenge on Umbrella. He then starts to sing again, and this causes the leeches to listen as if receiving orders, once again forming to resemble Dr. Marcus. Anyway, with no other choice, Billy and Rebecca explore the school, confronted by multiple leech monsters.
Okay, so it looks like
during their time here, the pair
That looks like goo. That looks like mold.
And Marcus's grim experimentation on not only adult subjects, but the young students at the training school too. They also fight many horrific BOWs in both the training school itself and the secret labs beneath it. Whilst this has been going on, Wesker and Birkin have put two and two together and discovered who the mysterious man, the Queen Leech, is, stating that this could sink Umbrella. Wesker says this means their jobs will be gone, as well as Spencer's, so he plans to say goodbye to Umbrella. He mentions a bioweapon that is utilizing the T-virus and that it's near to completion. All they need to do is acquire relevant combat data. Birkin refuses to abandon his work, stating that he still has work to do on his Golgotha virus, to which Wesker says that he can do what he wishes, as he plans to lure the other STARS members to the mansion. This is how he'll obtain his combat data. In regard to how they'll deal with the Queen Leech, Birkin recalls a self-destruct device located in the basement, and he says that he'll set this off himself.
It's funny, it's like the Zero is setting up 1 and 2 in a way, because Birkin basically becomes the main sort of antagonist of 2, and then like Wesker does his shit for 1.
She fell down a hole in the floor and requires saving, so Billy manages to rescue her. After which, Enrico contacts her and asks her if she's managed to locate Billy. She lies and says that she has not. Billy then tells her the reason he was arrested and institutionalized. He was serving with the US Marines in Africa during a civil war. His squad was sent to confront some guerrilla forces in the jungle. On their journey to the base, some of Billy's squad caught a fever, and some were wiped out by guerrillas. 4 Marines were left, including Billy. When they got to their destination, the base wasn't that at all. It was a village filled with civilians, but Billy's leader ordered the squad to open fire anyway. Billy refused to fire on them, and his squad leader knocked him out, whilst the other Marines went on to massacre the village.
Hey,
Billy was then
W.
sentenced to death
Billy.
by lethal injection, and was being transported to a military site for his execution when the vehicle was attacked, and Billy came across the train. Pushing on through the facility and fighting more BOWs, Billy also finds an old photo of the singing man, and Billy is surprised to see the man named on the back as a young James Marcus. Given Dr. Marcus's age, Billy considers that the singing man may be Dr. Marcus's son, or maybe his grandson. Billy and Rebecca also find a working cable car and hope that maybe it could lead to a way out of there. But as they prepare to get on board, Billy is attacked by a BOW and falls over the side of a railing. Using the cable car with the hope of finding Billy alive somewhere, Rebecca comes out in what she learns is the Umbrella chemical plant, and she finds it almost completely deserted, other than a few BOWs being present. Using a large elevator designed for trains, she is approached by Enrico. Rebecca is surprised that he is alive, and Enrico says that the rest of the squad should have arrived before him. He says that if they go straight from there, they'll arrive at the old mansion. Rebecca says that she needs to find Billy, telling Enrico that she'll catch up to him. Waiting for another elevator to take her down, she is approached by something. This is one of the T-001 Tyrants from the Tyrant Project, their prototype. Rebecca engages it in battle whilst waiting for the elevator, but she's able to do enough damage to bring it down. Using the elevator, Rebecca descends to Umbrella's nest facility, whilst the singing man, Queen Leech, talks to his leeches, saying nothing will stop him from getting his revenge. Having descended, Rebecca spots Billy clung to a rock in the stream, but there's something in the water with him, and it drags him off somewhere else. After rerouting power for the dam, Rebecca moves on. Here in the plant, she finds the workers have been infected thanks to James Marcus's leech friends. She tracks down Billy, still alive, and she pulls him onto a platform, and they spot the many human remains in this area, leading them to believe that this is what caused the workers still at the plant to become infected by Dr. Marcus not disposing of them properly. The treatment plant manager's diary also mentions that Umbrella were having their industrial waste delivered there, contaminated material that they were not able to process. That was until the plant was shut down. Of course, the plant was just a front to hide Birkin's laboratory here. Moving through the plant fighting more monstrosities, including the T-001 Tyrant who is back for more punishment, Rebecca and Billy come face to face with the Queen Leech, who reveals himself as such. He shows himself as the old Dr. James Marcus and explains what happened to him in regard to his death. how he consumed Marcus's brain, inheriting his memories. The Queen Leech then reverts to its real appearance, that of a huge leech, and Rebecca and Billy are forced to fight it. Defeating it, they ascend in a cargo elevator, but their fight isn't over.
It's always like an elevator where they have to like kill somebody.
The self-destruct sequence is then activated by William Birkin as he and Wesker attempt to destroy all evidence there. Fighting the Queen Leech again, Billy and Rebecca see that it's sensitive to sunlight, so inside a massive warehouse, Rebecca gets to work in opening the roof, whilst Billy keeps the creature at bay. Getting all the warehouse windows open, the creature is weakened, and Billy finishes it off with a gunshot to the face.
Hey, Queenie! Feast on this!
Damn, blew its back out.
Rebecca, hurry!
They escape the warehouse as it self-destructs, along with the training academy. Afterwards, the pair stand atop a hill and spot the mansion. Since Enrico mentioned it to her, Rebecca tells Billy that's where she needs to go next. When it comes to Billy, Rebecca tells him that as far as she's concerned, he is dead, and that is what she'll report, taking his dog tags as proof.
Okay, what happened to
A few
Rebecca?
hours later, STAR's Alpha team is headed to the mansion. Unbeknownst to them, this is all a ploy by Alpha Squad leader Albert Wesker to obtain combat data. They think they are there to investigate the murders in the Arklay Mountains and to search for the now missing Bravo team. On board the chopper are Alpha members Chris Redfield, who is also Alpha's point man, Jill Valentine, Barry Burton, Joseph Frost, and Albert Wesker, along with pilot Brad Vickers. Touching down after spotting Bravo team's crashed and destroyed helicopter, which contains the body of Kevin Dooley, Joseph Frost is attacked by Cerberus. Taking one of them out, Chris, Jill, and Wesker have to retreat to the mansion, and on the way they spot Brad flying off in the chopper. Barry is unaccounted for, and in the mansion's main hall they hear a gunshot. Either Chris or Jill say they will go and check it out. Now for the sake of story, here I chose Chris, and will be following Chris's path through the game, although both paths are pretty much identical. Entering a corridor, Chris witnesses something horrific.
Someone eating ass. So from what I gathered, the T virus is what the zombies are.
Retreating, Chris returns
and
to
like
the
the
main hall
G
and finds Jill
virus
and Wesker
is
gone.
what the
The word is where they
animals
went,
and
but spots
shit
Jill's handgun
are.
on the ground. Chris encounters more undead wandering around the mansion, but manages to evade them. Returning to the body the zombie was feasting on, it stars Bravo team member Kenneth, and he's holding a VHS tape. Needing to find out what happened to Jill and Wesker, Chris explores the mansion. Fighting and putting down a load more zombies, Chris has to solve many puzzles because, as I mentioned earlier, Oswald Spencer requested these puzzles when the mansion was being designed by George Trevor. Chris also found a note stating that he should burn the undead after they've been killed. This is important because after a time, they'll transform into a new mutation called Crimson Heads, which are extremely aggressive. Chris finds a diary from an Umbrella researcher which details experiments that had been carried out here at the labs linked to the mansion, and it mentions there'd been an accident in the lab, and this is why the place is overrun. As you'll remember, that accident or leak was caused by the Queen Leech. Anyway, Chris finds another of the Bravo team members. Unfortunately, he is deceased as well, but Chris does come across his still alive Rebecca Chambers, who is tending to one of the other Bravo team members, Richard, who seemingly got bitten by a snake, but Rebecca says the bite mark is huge.
What happened to Rebecca? So I never ran into Rebecca because I played as Jill. So I guess if you play as Jill, you don't run into Rebecca.
Rebecca says that Richard needs serum, but the problem is that it's in another room. Chris can choose to go and get the serum. If he's unable to get it in time, Richard will die, but on retrieving it, Rebecca administers it to him. He passes out, and Rebecca and Chris move him to a safer room where he can recover. She says that as soon as Richard gets better, they'll both catch up to Chris. Chris comes face to face with the snake that attacked Richard. Just as Rebecca said, this is a huge serpent, and Chris is forced to either fight it or avoid it. He is eventually able to make it to the outer grounds of the mansion, where he has Wesker trying to contact him over the radio, but he is unable to clearly make out what he's saying. Still unsure about what's going on, Chris moves on and finds a small shack, inside of which he finds a diary, but the writing inside is barely legible. It's the diary of Lisa Trevor, who wrote about her parents. Also inside this shack, he encounters what remains of Lisa Trevor, grotesquely disfigured from the experiments Umbrella had put her through, and she knocks him down. He's able to get out of there and further down a path, receives a radio call from Brad Vickers. Chris tries to respond, but Brad is unable to hear him as Chris's radio is broken. Draining a large pool of water, he finds that there's a path beneath it, leading to an area with a small waterfall. Finding a residence building there, Chris has a look around the place, and this place has its fair share of creepy. Moving a bookcase, Chris finds a ladder which leads to an underground area. Now, if Richard had been saved earlier on, Chris finds him down here terrified as he's being stalked by a shark POW. Richard then tries to warn Chris about the shark's presence and ends up getting eaten and killed by the shark
This
himself.
is interesting.
It turns out there are multiple sharks here in the Aqua Ring, but after Chris is able to drain the place, he finishes the dying sharks off by electrocuting them. With them out of the way, Chris finds a key and explores the rest of the residence. Reaching one area of the residence, Chris has to deal with a massive plant. The plant is the result of an Umbrella researcher called Henry and his scientific curiosity, in which he injected the living plant with the T-virus. This is what produced what Umbrella called Plant 42. It had been using the water from the Aqua Ring below the residence to keep itself alive and it fed on the workers there. The thing is, it's kind of in the way, so having learned about a chemical that renders the entire plant dead within seconds, something called V-Jolt, Chris concocts the formula according to some instructions and administers it, killing plant.
I just brute
Chris
forced
with a
it.
key from a previously blocked fireplace. Outside the room where he'd fought the plant, Rebecca is there and Chris shares the news of Richard's death. Rebecca goes to a pharmaceutical room she'd seen, but Chris hears gunshots and discovers Wesker there. He is surprised to see Chris alive, and Chris asks where Jill is, and Wesker says that they got separated. He says there are many more answers as to what's going on in the mansion, so he suggests that Chris heads back there. Wesker then leaves. Leaving the residence, Chris hears from Brad again, who is still frantically trying to contact the Alpha and Bravo teams. Getting back to the mansion, it seems that hunters have decided to join the party. Using the key gotten from the residence, Chris finds a worrying copy of an email, where it mentions something called X-Day, and this was a plan to lure Stars to the mansion to obtain combat data, which, remember, is the plan that Wesker discussed with Dr. Birkin. It reveals more about Wesker's plans, that he wants to collect 2 embryos of mutated specimens and would dispose of the Tyrant. All personnel were to be disposed of, including all test subjects, with the whole thing designed to be reported as an accident. These orders had come straight from Umbrella headquarters, but of course Chris has no idea yet that Wesker is a traitor. Chris later saves Rebecca from a hunter attack, and he tells her they have to find the others and find a way out of there. Moving on, Chris had to deal with a large snake in the mansion's library. This time, he is forced to fight it, but he prevails and the snake is dead. It slams its head against the bookcase, revealing an item that Chris can use to solve another one of George Trevor's contraptions. Earlier, Chris found the diary of George Trevor, which stated that he tried to escape at one point, and I guess that he felt that his knowledge of the mansion since he designed it would give him a big chance of success. But it turns out that poor George was caught out by one of his own traps. He wrote his final thoughts in a book, and he mentions dark, wet caves. In the end, poor George Trevor would starve to death until his diary would be discovered by Chris 31 years later. What's creepy is that the gravestone here marks the final resting place of George Trevor, which means that he hadn't just fallen for his own trap, he'd also fallen for Spencer's trap, as he had foreseen how George would try to escape. Having found a large battery in the mansion, Chris uses it to get an elevator powered, and uses it to ascend to an area where Chris is able to turn a crank, and he hears the sound of the waterfall shutting off. Returning to the waterfall, sure enough, a tunnel has been revealed behind it, so Chris descends via a ladder at the other end. At the bottom, he finds himself in the caves that George had written about in his journal. But down there in one of the tunnels, Chris comes across a member of Bravo team. It's their leader, Enrico. He's been shot and he says that he's discovered that someone in Stars has turned traitor. Of course, we know who that is. Enrico falsely suspects Chris and points his gun at him before he is shot and killed, with the killer running off before Chris can get a good look at them. Taking a crank from Enrico's body and fighting hunters, Chris moves on through the caves and uses the crank to open up pathways, avoiding being crushed in the process, and has to do battle with more BOWs in the
You should have punched that boulder.
Descending even deeper into the caves, Chris hears the pained groans of Lisa Trevor, who is pursuing him. He comes across an area where someone, Lisa, had been kept, and some notes here tell us about the demise of Jessica Trevor, George's wife, and that after the progenitor virus was administered to her, she failed to fuse with it and was subsequently disposed of. In terms of Lisa, however, she fused with it, but this was delayed, and she was to be observed further. Umbrella called it protective observation, which is what this room is. Lisa journaled on what happened after she had the progenitor virus administered to her. She felt dizzy, but she didn't know where her mother was. Jessica had promised Lisa that they would both escape together, leading Lisa to believe that her mother had escaped and left her behind. Little did she know that her mother was actually dead. She was happy later on, though, as she'd found her, but her mother was different inside. Turns out an Umbrella researcher was tasked with impersonating Jessica. She presumably cut the face off of this researcher and would vow to give her mother's face back to her. Lisa was unraveling, the delayed effects of the progenitor virus now showing. But a ladder here leads to the shack where Chris first encountered Lisa, which explains where she had come from. Using a couple of stone motifs on a door in the main hall of the mansion, Chris heads through it and follows a bunch of candlelit tunnels. He finds Wesker down there engaging in a battle against Lisa Trevor, and Wesker tells Chris to get involved. Pushing 4 stone pillars off the platform, this breaks the 4 chains on the coffin in the middle, and with all the chains broken, Lisa has now found her mother, who is inside it. Lisa then falls down into the depths. Inside the coffin, as well as the skeleton of Jessica Trevor, is a note from her to Lisa, saying that she was feeling her consciousness drifting away. The researchers kept giving her shots to make the itching go away, saying they were nutrition shots. Unfortunately, those shots would cause Jessica to somewhat forget Lisa, and she worried that she'd end up forgetting everything. Jessica would come up with a plan for them to escape together next time they were at the lab by pretending they were both unconscious. But this plan
yeah, that never worked.
Using an elevator, Chris finds himself at a fountain, and draining it, a staircase is revealed inside it. Using the staircase to descend it and going back underground again, he is now inside Umbrella's Arklay laboratory. There are plenty of infected Umbrella researchers down here, the handiwork of the Queen Leech. Through investigation, Chris discovers that the Epsilon strain of the T-virus had leaked, or rather set loose in the laboratory, and because of the staff becoming infected, the BOWs had escaped into the mansion, the surrounding area, and into the Arklay Mountains, resulting in Star's Bravo team being sent to investigate the murders. One scientist we've already mentioned, John Clemens, would write to his girlfriend, Ada, telling her that he was changing into something else thanks to the virus, and for her to do everything in her power to make sure the leak there at the Arklay laboratory went public, to not let Umbrella cover it all up. Also here in the Arklay labs, Chris finds a slide reel, and on it is evidence of the BOWs Umbrella has created here, Cerberus, the Neptune, Sharks, and the Hunters, along with another one that Chris has not encountered. the T-002 tyrant, the perfected version of the proto-tyrant that Rebecca and Billy encountered at the training school. Chris also sees a slide of someone in a lab coat that he recognizes. Wesker. Another list of so-called security protocols also lists Wesker as a consultant researcher for Umbrella. Chris also manages to observe the final moments of Bravo team member Kenneth by viewing the videotape he had obtained from him earlier on.
Get away from me! No! Hey! No!
Further inside the laboratory, Chris encounters more monstrosities in the form of what are called chimeras, human-fly hybrids, achieved by grafting insect DNA with human embryos, and these embryos were placed inside subjects, such as homeless women. Getting a large elevator online, their way up to the surface, Chris is surprised by an out-of-breath Rebecca who's been trying to catch up with him. Using the elevator, they enter a lab and find Albert Wesker inside. His whole sordid plan is about to be revealed. Chris demands to know how long Wesker has been on the
Jill
payroll
at?
of Umbrella. He says that he's always been with Umbrella, and that Stars have been a puppet to be used by Umbrella. Chris and Rebecca realize that Wesker gave up the Stars members and saw them as lambs for the slaughter, and Wesker shoots Rebecca in the shoulder. Wesker admires the tyrant, calling it magnificent, and it wakes up, goring Wesker through the torso with its claw arm and throwing him aside. It goes after Chris, but he's able to defeat it by shooting the exposed heart on its chest. Checking on Rebecca, she's wearing a bulletproof vest, which took most of the impact. Getting a move on, Rebecca says that there's still a lot of T-virus present here in the lab, so they should blow the place up and destroy the virus using the facility's self-destruct system. Rebecca will look into getting this done, and Chris says he will see her on the outside. Chris is surprised to see that Jill is still alive, and she's in a cell there in the lab. Freeing her, she tells him that Wesker was the one that locked her in there, and he says that Wesker has been dealt with. Meeting up with Rebecca now, the self-destruct system has
Dang, what happened to Barry?
Jill tells Chris to get to the surface and get in contact with Brad, and she'll hold off any creatures that show up.
They just left
Using signal
Barry.
flares, Jill and Rebecca join him, but the Tyrant joins this reunion and knocks Jill out. Chris unloads everything he's got into the Tyrant, and Brad arrives throwing him down a rocket launcher. He then fires it straight at the Tyrant, completely destroying it. Brad then lands and they all board the chopper. The mansion then explodes, all traces of what Umbrella had done, and their lab, gone. Or so everyone thinks. Let's go back a bit. So after the training school incident involving Rebecca and Billy, Albert Wesker left, and he was confronted by a Colonel Sergei Vladimir, who joined Umbrella after the fall of the Soviet Union, and he was extremely loyal to Oswald Spencer. He'd founded something called the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, or UBCS for short, and he was a fierce rival of Wesker. With Colonel Vladimir is one of his T-103 bodyguards by the name of Ivan.
Ugh.
The T-103 was very tough.
Oh, this is
but Wesker was able to get away after
the
fighting
light
it after
gun
he was distracted
game.
by an explosion. After Wesker had met it with Stars and lured them to the mansion, he got ready to awaken the Tyrant and injected himself with a mutant T-virus strain. The Tyrant killed Wesker, as we saw, and it appears that he died. Although after he had died, the T-virus strain in his body started to give him incredible healing and powerful abilities. However, one thing that Wesker wasn't anticipating was Colonel Vladimir using Umbrella's Red Queen AI to restrict his security access to Umbrella systems. Wesker did not manage to recover embryos, or any other data for that matter, that he was planning to hand over to Umbrella's rival organization, who were to become his new employer. He ended up having to escape the mansion before it self-destructed, and after a fight with the still-alive Lisa Trevor, he was able to do so. And to everyone else, officially, Albert Wesker was dead. But on to Stars.
Okay.
Upon returning to the Raccoon City Police Department, the Stars members, consisting of Jill, Brad, Barry, Chris, and Rebecca, demanded a full investigation into the activities of Umbrella, and also an investigation into the mansion incident. Brian Irons, the Raccoon City Chief of Police, rejected this demand, and this was because Irons was himself accepting bribes from Umbrella to keep any investigations away from their activities.
Okay, this
Outward
is,
appearances suggested that Irons portrayed himself as a philanthropist, which would help hide his more nefarious activities. Anyway, he then made the decision to disband the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, ordering the
police
RPD
chief
to do their own investigations into Umbrella, knowing that these investigations would not lead anywhere. Quite funny this, as donations from Umbrella to the RPD essentially funded the creation of Stars itself. Irons' rationale for disbanding Stars was that they'd lost too many officers, so it would no longer be able to function. Chris wasn't having this though, and he reported Chief Irons to the FBI due to corruption and taking bribes from Umbrella. And the FBI
Snitch.
began their own investigation into corruption inside the RPD. Chris would go to Europe to continue his investigations into Umbrella, writing to his friends and colleagues in code, stating that he was on holiday. Jill and Brad stayed behind in Raccoon City as they wanted to find out more information about Umbrella, or Birkin's G-virus that was inside a nest facility somewhere underneath Raccoon City. Rebecca Chambers and Barry Burton would leave the city. Jill's investigation didn't go far though, as Irons suspended her and put her under house arrest, with her apartment under surveillance.
House
Jill thought
arrest?
this was so they could wear her down and torment her into complying with what they wanted. But over the next 2 months, things would get so much worse.
So Resident Evil 1 takes place a few months before 2. Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Resident Evil.
Earlier in the video, I mentioned that William Birkin had gone to work in Umbrella's Nest facility, and after 7 years of research on Golgotha, he completed it, and he was incredibly proud of his work. His wife, Annette, also a researcher for Umbrella, worked with him. They sourced subjects from the Raccoon City orphanage, with stories being fabricated that the children had been homed with new families. They'd implant G embryos in the subject, but the subjects would constantly lose consciousness, and this happened with mass numbers of subjects. Just like the T-virus though, the resultant mental degradation from the G-virus was inevitable. They ended up burning through so many human subjects that Umbrella's incineration plant had become overwhelmed with having too many to get rid of. But William got a bit too attached to his work, it seems, and he started to get incredibly worried that Umbrella's board would attempt to seize his creation for themselves, since he'd found out Umbrella was ceasing all research on G.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody is like doing side shit.
Surplus to requirements, and he was right, as they'd removed him from his post, as Umbrella moles in the US military had reported that Birkin had agreed to sell G to them. He would sell the military the G-virus for their own bioweapons development program, and in exchange he would receive protection from Umbrella. Umbrella then made their move, but again, things are about to kick off. With the T-virus having made its way to Raccoon City, the events of how that happened was kind of a perfect storm, with many different, smaller outbreaks resulting in one massive situation. In April 1998, people had suspected that something was up with the water in the rivers and high levels of toxins had been discovered in the water. These were also in the water system itself. Residents were demanding an investigation into the situation. This, along with the leak from the Arkley laboratory, meant that it was only a matter of time until the T-virus reached a heavily populated area, such as Raccoon City. Now, thanks to Birkin's research on the G-virus resulting in too many bodies to dispose of, they just sat there, and the virus was actually able to mutate. And despite the staff having received a dose of antibodies to the T-virus, this new strain bypassed them, and it infected the staff at the plant, soon escaping into Raccoon City. Many more reports would come out, with newspapers reporting more instances of disheveled-looking people biting others, again being referred to as cannibal murders, since these murder victims appear to have been eaten. The sewers were also a place where the virus was rampant. Raccoon City Hospital soon became overwhelmed, seeing patients suffering from strange symptoms, and they were becoming aggressive. Another hospital in Raccoon City, the Spencer Memorial Hospital, was experiencing the same thing, with more and more infected piling in. No antiseptic would work, with the doctors being attacked by aggressive patients. Some would barricade themselves in rooms to escape the chaos of the situation, trying hard to ignore the screaming coming from behind the door, eventually all dying themselves. Umbrella acted, being wary of the situation fast spiraling out of control, and mobilized UBCS forces to be on standby should they need to go into the city. This was to avoid any action being taken by the US government themselves. Umbrella said they'd handle it, basically. On September 22nd, 1998, the Umbrella Security Services have received orders from Dr. Christine Henry to retrieve the G-virus by any means necessary, even if that means killing Dr. Birkin to get it. They were also ordered to eliminate any researchers there at the lab too, and they did, according to Wayne Lee, one of Umbrella's researchers. Special Agent Hunk had orders to deliver the G-virus to a small village in France called Loire, but their raid on Nest didn't exactly go to plan. Hunk and his team moved into Raccoon City on the 23rd, and after cleaning house, they confronted William Birkin in the Nest facility just as he was getting ready.
And he shot himself
Birkin reaching
up.
for something inside his lab coat in an already tense situation resulted in one of their operators fatally shooting Birkin. Nonetheless, they grabbed the briefcases containing the samples of the G-virus, along with yet another strain of the T-virus, and tried to make their way through the sewers to escape. Birkin, however, well, he had one remaining sample of the G-virus, and dying, he injected himself with it, much to the dismay of Annette. Over a very short period of time, William would mutate into G and pursued them through the sewers. He killed most of Hunk's Alpha team and consumed the remaining samples of the G-virus, ensuring that Umbrella could not get their hands on it. The T-virus vial smashed in the process, and the rats there in the sewers started to drink the liquid. The rats then left the sewers and ventured out near to a large lake, which was a main source of drinking water for Raccoon City. A day later, things would heat up. Groups of survivors get caught in zombie attacks. One in particular on a bar called Jay's Bar. Survivors did their best to survive by helping each other out and avoiding infected people who were trying to bite others. Arming themselves with whatever they could find, survivors make their way through the buildings and back alleys hoping to find a way out of the city. Raccoon police officers attempted to try and blow up the streets using explosives, but they would ultimately perish in their attempts, and this led to the survivors having to do it. Another survivor, George, goes to a university after finding a note from his friend Peter, in which he's asking for George's help. Getting there, George finds that Peter, who had been shot in the back of the head and killed, had been working on a retroviral drug called Daylight, which it was claimed could effectively eliminate the T-virus from the body, although it's more likely just a suppressant to slow the virus. While trying to synthesize it, George meets Greg Mueller, a former Umbrella researcher who had produced Daylight alongside Peter, and he was the one who killed Peter. The survivors were able to get samples of Daylight out of the city, and Mueller was killed. Animals got infected too and roamed the streets, and a cover was established that the city was to be quarantined due to a radiation spill. Survivors would attempt to pass through the Raccoon City Zoo via the tram there in order to attempt to make it to evacuation helicopters, but lucky for them, the chopper had already crashed before they were able to get to it, but the other passengers did die. Raccoon City police officer Kevin Ryman would take some survivors to the Raccoon Police Department, as the place had been designated as a refuge for survivors, but things were looking precarious, so the officer in charge, Marvin Branner, had a plan to escape via hidden tunnels. The police station eventually did fall to the zombies. As mentioned, all these incidents created a perfect storm, and Raccoon City was doomed to fall to the T-virus. With the situation in Raccoon City spiraling out of control, Chief Irons was angry at Umbrella for ruining his town, but he still worked to disrupt Raccoon police operations as much as he could, purposely dooming his officers to death. A bit of background on Chief Irons. He was accused of domestic violence against his wife twice, and he only avoided prison after he agreed to undergo a psych evaluation. Irons liked to hunt, and as a fully fledged
typical
psychopath, so he saw his
cop
chance to finally be able
backstory.
to hunt and kill humans, young women in particular, and one he sought to hunt down, and so he saw his chance to finally be able to hunt and kill humans, young women in particular. And one
yeah.
he sought to hunt down and kill was the mayor's daughter, Catherine. The mayor, Michael Warren, had helped Irons discredit the STARS members who'd survived the mansion and training school incidents. In a rather predictable show of cowardice, Warren fled Raccoon City once things got out of control, even so much as leaving Catherine in the Raccoon Police Department with Irons.
Damn, that. Ooh.
With Jill Valentine on house arrest and awaiting the day she's able to move out of Raccoon City, she's woken up after suffering a horrific nightmare, a common occurrence ever since the mansion incident, as she's worried that maybe she's got some delayed symptoms for the T-virus. She's been busy whilst on lockdown though, investigating Umbrella and their ties to the RPD, their control of the entire city, along with the corruption of Chief Irons, and her own observations when it came to the T-virus. She realised that at some point, someone from Umbrella would likely come to kill her, so to avoid that fate, she planned to move out at night in order to try and hold Umbrella to account for what they've done. She hears the phone ringing and it's Brad Vickers, who sounds extremely frantic, telling Jill that she needs to get out of her apartment right now. Agreeing to leave, something bursts through the wall of her apartment, launching her backwards. This thing is massive and obviously intends to do her harm. Firing on it, it launches her out of the door of her apartment and into the hall where she's eventually able to escape this dangerous game of cat and mouse. On the street, things are going to hell, and she meets up with Brad, who tells her that thing seems to be after the only two STARS members left in Raccoon City, which of course is the two of them. Following him down the street, Jill sees that the situation in the city is really bad. People who have succumbed to the T-virus burst through a fence, and Jill and Brad take refuge in a bar, where Brad attempts to hold the infected off but is bitten. He demands Jill leave him, as he knows what this means for him, so she reluctantly leaves him there. Obtaining a weapon from a deceased police officer, Jill hears from a chopper overhead to get to a nearby parking garage for pickup. On the way and heading through a warehouse, she finds a terrified man inside who introduces himself as Dario Rosso. He's refusing to leave and locks himself inside a storage container. With no other option than to leave him there, Jill is confronted and attacked by zombies, but she's able to get to the parking garage's roof, but the chopper waiting there for her is attacked and destroyed by the monster that's hunting her. Getting into a nearby car, she accelerates towards the monster and drives into it, launching both of them off the top level of the car park and onto the street below. This leaves Jill in bad shape, and she is cornered by the beast with it seemingly over for her. But she is saved by someone, a member of the UBCS, called Carlos, who brings the beast down with a rocket launcher. Helping her up, they both move into the metro station where Jill discovers that Carlos works for Umbrella, leading to her blaming them for causing all this mess, but this leaves Carlos confused, since as far as he's concerned they were sent there for riot control. Carlos introduces her to the UBCS squad leader Mikhail Victor, who is on a subway train with a bunch of survivors on the neighbouring one. He immediately knows who she is, an elite member of STARS. He says that his team was sent there to rescue civilians, but the city is completely cut off and isolated, with most of the civilians in the city wiped out by the T-virus, killed by the zombies, or just by the chaos in the city. His platoon has suffered catastrophic losses, but Jill is unsympathetic, as he and his platoon are working for Umbrella. He brushes this off and says that if they can get the subway train moving, they can evacuate the survivors. He asks Jill for her help, and she begrudgingly agrees to team up with UBCS, but only for the survivors and to help get the train moving. Grabbing some gear, Jill ventures out onto the streets, which are now populated entirely by the undead. Moving through them and after finding a fire hose to put out a fire blocking her path forward, she makes it into a garage and hears a commotion behind a door. Using bolt cutters to gain access, she finds a member of the UBCS there called Murphy, who is badly wounded. Murphy says that he's not infected, but another UBCS member shows up and shoots Murphy in the head. Jill is shocked and asks why the man did it, and he responds that he could have been infected, and that he didn't want to take the chance. An air of arrogance about him, the UBCS agent asks Jill where her sense of self-preservation is and tells her to go back to the subway station, calling her a bleeding heart. Looking at Murphy's journal, it appears that Umbrella were recruiting former soldiers, just like Murphy himself, who was in prison because he'd murdered 20 gangsters as a revenge for them having gunned down his brother. He was recruited into the UBCS. During his training, he had suspicion about someone called Nikolai, assumed to be the man who shot him, referring to him as a lunatic, and it seems the two trained together upon joining the UBCS. Outside this building, Jill finds another dead UBCS member and he's left a note, stating that the squadron he was with, 30 heavily armed men, got wiped out in less than 48 hours. Moving on to the power plant, Jill sees it's engulfed by some sort of nest. Outside, she finds a lockpick next to the bloated corpse of someone, and a load of insects burst out from his body. She also finds a note from a worker there at the plant stating that an insect forced something down his throat, recalling something that his grandmother told him. He used a green herb which are native to the Arklay Mountains, and this forced a parasite that was inside of him out. Good job she read this, as when Jill attempts to enter the power plant, the same thing happens to her, and upon consuming a herb, her body ejects the parasite. With no other option than to enter the infested plant to get the power back on, Jill manages it, turning the power back on at the terminal, and this fries the nest. The creatures here are what are infected parasites that had come about after insects had drunk T-virus infected blood.
Oh,
They
okay.
were initially the size of fleas, but they grew to quite a large size as a result. Anyway, Jill now needs to redirect the train lines at the train company's office nearby, but on the way to it, she is once again confronted by the large BOW that had been pursued.
Yeah, surprise, bitch.
Temporarily incapacitating it or just running for her life, Jill warns Carlos over the radio that the BOW is still alive, and that despite the threat, she will head to switch the tracks. She is constantly hunted by the creature, but she's able to make it to the depot and switches the tracks so that the subway train with the survivors can get out of there. Leaving, she sees a strange mutation, as a zombie's head has a casing around it and uses a long tendril to whip at Jill. Putting this mutation down, she sees what's causing this. It's the large BOW. It's implanting some sort of parasite into the T-virus riddled zombies, causing them to mutate. Making it back to the subway station, she meets up with Carlos, and the UBCS agent she met before, Nikolai, shows up, and he clearly doesn't like the fact that Jill is still there, despite her helping them get the subway train moving. Attention turns to the BOW, which is now bashing its way into the subway station. So Jill decides to buy the survivors some time by leading the creature away, since it's her it's after. This little detour leads to Jill ending up in the sewers beneath the city. Trying to find a way out, it appears that an Umbrella researcher had been doing experiments in here as well as early as June 1998, after a Dr. Logan Carlyle smuggled a bunch of Umbrella's Hunter Gamma specimens from the lab after they shut down research. Carlyle had been nurturing these creatures and had developed a fatherly love for them. He'd seen them in action and wanted to report progress back to Umbrella's European branch. Taking out what's left of Carlyle's Hunter Gammas, Jill finds her way out via a ladder. At the top, though, she's grabbed by the BOW, which is now armed with a
her head.
flamethrower, and Jill is once again pursued, this time
I want to know where he began the weapons from. Who's supplying him?
She faces off against the creature, eventually managing to bring it down. Needing to escape the building before it's completely engulfed in flames, Jill jumps off the side of it, and luckily she's able to soften her landing, although it's still a fairly painful one. Getting in contact with Carlos again, she says that the creature has been dealt with now, and she's heading back to the station. She visits a gun shop nearby, which is run by her friend Kendo, who also designed and made Jill's and the rest of Star's Samurai Edge handguns. Jill tells him about the subway train with survivors, but he rejects the offer of a ride out of town, saying that he's making his own arrangements. He seems to be very concerned about something in his garage out back, and Jill leaves, telling him to make sure he makes it, as he's the best gunsmith around. She cuts through some houses, encountering more of the mutated zombies, and is chased by the still alive BOW, which is now equipped with a missile launcher. Seeing Carlos, she follows him to an alternate entrance to the subway station, and Carlos takes the beast down by firing on an oil tanker and creating a huge explosion. Jill boards the train whilst Mikhail tells Tyrell, who is one of the UBCS's monitors, operatives that gather data, and Carlos that they need to track someone down, a Dr. Nathaniel Bard. The train leaves Redstone Street Station, and en route to Fox Park, Jill hears Mikhail and Nikolai talking. She looks at him, fully evident that she doesn't trust Nikolai one bit. Mikhail looks up at him and questions him as to how a bunch of zombies managed to get the jump on an entire platoon, especially since the gate was locked, implying that he thinks it was Nikolai who betrayed his unit. There's then an explosion on the train. Nikolai slowly makes his retreat, whilst Mikhail and Jill try to see what it was. It's the BOW again, still not dead. Jill wants to take it down, but Mikhail stops her, telling her they need to move. But Nikolai locks them both in that train car with the creature, saying that he knows it's not after him. Mikhail tries to shoot the beast, but is grabbed by it. With a block of C4 under his arm, he detonates it, killing himself and hopefully the BOW too. The train veers off the track and crashes, with Jill passing out. Meanwhile, Carlos and Tyrell have made it to the Raccoon Police Department as they hope Bard will be there. Approaching the front entrance, they hear a commotion. It's Brad Vickers, who is still in the process of turning, but still has some coherence, much to the surprise of the officer there, who is Marvin Branner, who tells Brad to stop. Marvin is
this is how he gets his ass eat.
Afterwards, running inside the station. Tyrell tries to get the main door open, whilst Carlos engages Brad and takes him down, finding out from his security cover that he is Stars. Inside the station, Tyrell
has
says that
terrible
Bard should be in
penmanship.
Stars' office on the first floor. Tyrell says that Bard has access to Umbrella's darkest secrets, so this rescue mission is more of a capture and detain one due to what Bard knows. It's clear when moving through the station that the situation here is pretty foobar too, as Carlos witnesses two officers getting torn apart by something there. As mentioned earlier, the station was a refuge for survivors until the inevitable happened and an outbreak occurred. And from an email that Carlos can find, someone named Lucy Yen had disposed of any and all files in relation to you.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the
Lucy Yen
stream.
had requested evacuation, but none came, so she threatened to expose Umbrella's collusion with Raccoon City's civic leaders such as Mayor Warren and Chief Irons. Anyway, Carlos is able to find his way to the Stars office and is attacked by another mutation called a Licker. Blind, but very aggressive. Upon entering the office, he makes contact with Nathaniel Bard, who is relieved to have gotten in touch with someone. He says that he's trapped in a hospital surrounded by abominations. He tells Carlos to send Stars, but he replies that it's not possible, as the police department is now overrun. Bard gets a little bit shirty, telling Carlos to figure it out, and that Umbrella have gone a little bit mental, killing all the researchers, and he fears that he is next. He claims that he's the one that knows how to make a vaccine in order to stop the zombies. He hangs up, and Carlos tells Tyrell they can't just hand him over to Umbrella if they just intend to kill him. Tyrell responds by saying that's Mikhail's call, and not theirs. So whilst all this has been happening, Jill had regained consciousness, and she found herself at St. Michael's Clock Tower. Hearing a roar coming from underground, she saw that BOW hunting emerged from it and jumped into the river whilst on fire. She then got radio signal on, so she contacted Carlos telling him what happened. But Nikolai betrayed them and Mikhail is dead. However, she starts to break up. At that point, though, Jill stops responding to him as the creature, now mutated, leaps out of the water and she has to run in order to escape. Tyrell tells Carlos to go and help Jill and says that he'll handle Bard. Jill faces off against the creature again. Using some newly acquired mine rounds, she uses these to gain the upper hand and dumps some firepower into its exposed parasite. Eventually, she's able to defeat the beast, again. But quite predictably, as she's not done the whole double tap thing, the creature grabs her while she's walking away. She shoots the gate and it comes down on the creature's arm, but it shoots a barb into her arm and she collapses, struggling to breathe as the infection takes hold. Nikolai appears, grinning, saying that Jill has done him a big favor. Jill passes out, being found half a day later in the early evening by Carlos, who embarks on quite the journey in getting Jill to the Spencer Memorial Hospital. That same evening, on the 29th of October, rookie cop Leon Scott Kennedy is on his way to Raccoon City, as he has recently been assigned as a police officer there. Leon had specifically requested to be assigned there as he was very intrigued by the mysterious murders in the Arklay Mountains. He'd actually received a message from the RPD telling him things in the city had become very bad, and not to report for duty, but Leon, being Leon, decided to go there anyway.
Leon!
So he makes the decision to stop at a gas station just outside the city itself. There's a police car there, and after filling up his vehicle, he enters the store and wonders where everyone is. He finds a trail of blood leading inside, and the lights are off, and a bloodied, injured employee is pointing to the back corridor. Leon hears a commotion and finds an officer there, struggling with a violent man in the storeroom. He says he can handle it, but this isn't true, as the man, a zombie, overpowers him, taking a large bite out of
Get
his
his ass eaten.
Leon draws his weapon, telling the crazy guy to calm down, but he has to take him down. Escaping the store, Leon opens the door and a woman is stood there. Leon shouts at her to get down, and he shoots a zombie behind her, saving her life. The two then jump into the cop car and head into Raccoon City, as Leon says that maybe they can get some answers as to what has happened over at the police station. The woman introduces herself as Claire Redfield and says that she's looking for her brother, as he's also a cop. She's the sister of STARS member, Chris. Arriving and driving through the now deserted streets of the city, they find themselves stuck at a roadblock, and Leon says they have to walk the rest of the way. Claire looks out of the window to see a zombie eating a corpse. Their vehicle is then overwhelmed by zombies pretty quickly, and they get slightly panicked as an out-of-control truck, whose driver had earlier been attacked and bitten by a zombie, is hurtling towards them at speed. Unable to get out of the vehicle in time, it smashes into the police car, coming to a stop on its side. Oil leaks from the police car as Leon manages to get out of it, and it explodes, as well as the oil tanker, leading to Leon being concerned that Claire may have died. But she hasn't, as she's on the other side of the flames, telling Leon that she'll find another way to the station.
Yeah, this is just recapping stuff that I've already played, but just in case I missed something.
It's a neon-lit sign, a welcome sight for anyone seeking refuge. But on entering, it's not such a welcoming place. There doesn't seem to be one single survivor here. With a need to find someone or something to find out what's happening here in Raccoon City, Leon sees an officer on a CCTV monitor running away from and shooting a zombie, saying that he's found a way out of there. Heading into the station's east wing, he greets this officer, who is struggling to pry his way under a shutter. Leon attempts to help him and pull him through, but the zombies start to eat him alive. Leon can only watch as the officer, Elliot, screams and dies as he's torn apart. Picking up his notebook, it contains drawings of statues along with 3 holes where medallions can be placed. Leon makes his way back to the hallway, but is set upon by a group of zombies, and has to fight his way out of the east hallway. He too gets stuck under a shutter, but is saved by Marvin Branner, who's still alive and kicking despite being bitten by Brad Vickers. Changing into his RPD uniform, Leon asks what started this outbreak, but Marvin has no clue, but warns Leon that it will eat him alive if he's not careful. Marvin, his lieutenant, tells him to find a way out of the station. Marvin hands Leon a knife, telling him not to make the same mistake he did, and if he sees a zombie, uniform or not, to not hesitate. Walking down a hallway, Leon sees the results of the carnage that Carlos witnessed only hours prior. He encounters more zombies, but Leon manages to make it to the west wing of the
I like how they're
station.
intercutting stuff with like what happened
Leon returns
before.
to Marvin, who directs his attention to a camera feed, and Claire is on it. She's on the east side of the station at the side gate, so he goes to see her. On the way to see Claire, Leon finds a pamphlet there which gives a bit of background on the building he's in. The police station actually used to be a museum, hence the strange decor in the layout, along with the large goddess statue in the main hall. But anyway, Claire can't wait all day. Heading down a hallway, Leon hears the sound of a chopper, but it inexplicably smashes into the police station, becoming a burning wreck, and the pilot is quite inevitably dead. Leon is able to speak with Claire, but unfortunately he does not have a key for the gate. With Leon reassuring Claire that they will find Chris, the chopper explodes, which essentially is ringing the dinner bell for the zombies, so Claire needs to get moving. Leon moves back inside the police station whilst Claire continues with her search for Chris. With Marvin deteriorating, Leon needs to get a move on. On the upper floors, he finds a note scrawled by an officer called David Ford. He mentions creepy infected, lickers, and as mentioned, they are blind as bats. And of course, Carlos got all too familiar with them during his own time here. Near to the STARS office, Leon encounters one himself. He starts his search for the 3 medallions needed to open up the supposed passageway that Elliot had discovered. He manages to find them all, but on opening the secret entryway and telling Marvin about this, he seems to be showing signs of aggression. He says it's too late for him, but they can't let this thing spread, and says it's all on Leon now. Taking an elevator down, Leon finds himself in what looks like a maintenance corridor. Someone or something runs across the walkway above him, and it sounds pretty angry. Attempting to move a cabinet out of the way, this something drops down in front of him. It's Birkin, in his G-mutated form. Slamming Leon through the walkway, he falls into a large area below where he faces off against Birkin. After enough punishment has been inflicted on Birkin, he falls over the edge and down into the depths. Moving through the area, Leon finds a ladder and ascends, ending up in the RPD's parking garage, where he tries to get out by way of the entry gate, but it needs a keycard. He is attacked by Cerberus, but is saved by someone, a mysterious woman who produces ID, and it says that she's FBI. She says she's surprised he made it this far, but says what's going on there is classified. She tells Leon to stop asking questions and to get himself the hell out of there. The woman then leaves. Leon tries to go after her, but she's disappeared, and he's now in a holding cell area in the parking garage. Zombified prisoners are inside the cells, but one cell holds a still alive and uninfected prisoner. This is Ben Bertolucci. He says that Chief Irons locked him in there. He doesn't have many nice things to say about old Irons, but of course the only part of Irons Leon has seen is the man who parades himself about as a man of the people. Ben brings Leon up to speed, that Irons was dirty and that he, Ben, was about to blow the whistle on his affairs. A screech is heard from down the hallway and Ben offers Leon a deal. His parking permit for the machine in exchange for help getting out of there. The noises get louder and Ben gets more frantic after Leon says that he'll speak to Chief Irons first. Backing towards the wall, a massive hand smashes through it, grabs Ben and kills him in a pretty gruesome way. Ada shows up again and she says that she told him to get out of there. She says that Ben here was an informant, that he had information of use to her investigation. She walks off again, much to Leon's frustration. He introduces himself as Leon, and she says her name is Ada. Given that Leon needs the permit currently attached to Ben's dead body, he needs to get power restored to the cells before he can get in to grab it. Leon finds a note next to Ben's cell which reads that a couple of custom power panel parts
Ada
the power
Wong.
panel for the jail cells there. One should be inside the generator room and the other in the station's clock tower. Sure enough, he manages to find the first panel part in the generator room. Using a crank to lift a shutter, Leon is now back inside the RPD on its east side, finding what remains of Elliot's lower half. In the main hall, Leon also finds that Marvin has not only died, but is now reanimated. Putting out the fire surrounding the crashed chopper, Leon is confronted by the T-103 Tyrant, the thing that killed Ben Bertolucci. As we've seen before, the T-103 is a highly intelligent BOW which pursues Leon throughout the RPD. Mr. X, as he's more affectionately known. He also finds Chris's letter to his fellow STARS members stating that he's in Europe and makes a few veiled nods to what he's doing, investigating Umbrella. Anyway, Leon manages to get access to the top floor area, previously inaccessible, and he finds the clock tower. Swapping some cogs around causes the clock tower to break, and this dislodges the second and final power panel box. Now to go back to the holding cells and get that permit. Installing the two panel pieces, Leon opens the cells and grabs the permit, and he finds a recording device on Ben. Playing the tape is a recording of a conversation between Ben and a woman. Ben was asking her about an orphanage and some rumours. Of course, we know that those rumours are of children going missing and not being rehomed, but instead being used in the sick experiments by Umbrella in an underground laboratory. The woman Ben was speaking to was Annette Birkin, William Birkin's wife. Leon also finds a note written by Ben telling him about the T-103 Tyrant, that it's likely that Umbrella sent it into Raccoon City to wipe out any remaining survivors, witnesses to the atrocities carried out by Umbrella. With him now having gotten what he needed, Leon needs to get out of there. Unfortunately, him opening the cells is a double-edged sword as the other cells have opened too. Zombies pour out, and what's even worse is that Mr. X has joined the party. He busts through a wall, and Leon is grabbed by the Tyrant, and as he's being choked out, he is saved once again by Ada, who drives a truck directly into the Tyrant, crushing him against the wall.
Ada, this is getting old. Saving your ass, it's twice.
I didn't realize you were keeping score.
Look, this isn't a game. Nothing dies down here. I take it you have the key card.
Yep, you're gonna have to do that like 1,000 more times to kill him.
I was hoping you could explain what's on it.
Maybe. After I hear it. Let's get out of here.
Leaving the parking garage, Leon and Ada emerge onto the street while she listens to Ben's tape and says that unfortunately, this is not the intel she needed, which is information on who are the ones responsible for this mess. They find the road ahead, well, gone, so they head through Kendo's gun shop, where Jill had been the previous day. There are still a few bits and pieces in the store, so they grab what they can find to gear up, but they're confronted by Kendo, who is still there. Now we see why Kendo didn't leave. He has a daughter there and she's infected. Ada says they need to terminate her before she turns completely. He tells his daughter Emma to stay inside, but he hugs his daughter, shouting at Leon, demanding to know how all this happened. Emma calls for her mother, but it's clear from Kendo's response that his wife is dead, and that he's clearly having some trouble making a decision in what to do with his beloved daughter. Kendo carries Emma inside and tells both Leon and Ada to go, and to give them some privacy.
Imagine Kendo's still alive.
Gunshot indicating that Kendo ended his daughter's suffering. Leon is determined to find out what's happening here in order to stop whoever's behind it. But helping people like Robert Kendo and his daughter is the reason he joined the police force. The truth is that he, Leon, is an orphan, becoming one after his family was killed in a massacre. He was saved by a lone officer, and inspired by this officer, he wanted to pay that forward by becoming that person himself.
Oh, I did not know that.
Clean and tells Leon that her mission is to take down Umbrella's entire operation. Leon tells her to count him in. Whatever helps save the city. Ada asks Leon if he's heard of Umbrella. She tells him they're a pharmaceutical company that are secretly making bioweapons.
So Leon's an orphan because it's interesting. Hold on.
To take down Umbrella's entire operation, pay that forward by becoming that person. He was saved by a lone officer, and inspired by this officer, he wanted to pay that forward by becoming that person himself.
Interesting. I wonder will that ever come into fruition in the future?
That is what's destroyed the people and by extension.
Because you just don't like give that information for no reason, but I guess that's for a character backstory.
Annette Birkin in order to bring her down. Leon is a bit naive when Ada says that the sewers lead to Umbrella's secret laboratory, saying there's no way Umbrella could do that without the authorities knowing. Ada simply responds, "Welcome to corporate America," that Umbrella has controlled Raccoon City for years. Short into the sewers, the whole area shakes, violently. Unsure as to whether it was an earthquake, they are soon shocked to find that it wasn't. It's another of Umbrella's horrid experiments. Jumping down into the filthy sewer water, Leon comes face to face with the huge mutant reptile, having to run to escape it. Thankfully, it ends up chewing on a gas pipe, and shooting it, he's able to blow this ugly thing's head into 1,000 pieces. Continuing on after a short elevator ride down, where Ada tells Leon Umbrella hope to sell the viruses they make, Ada and Leon spot Annette, and Ada says they're there for the G-virus. A little bit different to what she initially said she was there for. Annette has been observing a zombie corpse, stating they don't have much time. She burns the corpse and runs off, shooting at Ada, and Leon jumps in front of her, catching a bullet for his troubles, and Annette is able to escape, shouting that they'll never get the G-virus. Leon tells Ada to forget about him and stop Annette, and he passes out. Placing Leon somewhere he can rest, Ada gets on the radio and speaks to someone. She says that she is outside of the Umbrella facility and is in pursuit of Annette. She says that if the G-virus is not on her, then it must be in Umbrella's nest facility. She says that once the G-virus is in hand, she'll call for extraction. And working her way through the rest of the sewers, Ada is able to find a note which mentions an ID wristband, and it's something that is crucial if she's to gain access to Nest itself. Using all manner of advanced gadgetry, Ada spots Annette, but her pursuit of her is quite rudely interrupted by Mr. X. Evading him, Ada comes out by the incinerators, and heading inside one to obtain one of these wristbands she read about, she is trapped in there by Annette, who turns it on and leaves Ada to die. Thankfully, Ada is able to use her EMF gun to bypass the locks and escape before she burns alive. Gaining access to the previously locked area, Ada goes after Annette again, but is foiled by her again, as she uses a crane to force Ada off of a platform and into a disposal area where she injures her leg and passes out. Not long after, Leon wakes up from his nap, wondering where Ada is. Having recuperated a little bit now, he moves into the sewers, where he encounters another type of monstrosity, one created by the Golgotha virus leaking into the sewer system here in Raccoon City. He also finds remnants of Hunk's team that were hunted down and killed by G. Birkin, as well as emails from researchers in Nest that state that an outbreak had occurred there. Upon seeing an unconscious and injured Ada through a window, Leon solves a puzzle involving chess pieces in order to unlock the waste disposal area door. Trying to get the power restored to the door Ada is lying behind, he does it, but gets attacked by William Birkin, who forces him down a corridor where he has to face him again. Using a large cargo container on a crane, Leon is able to knock Birkin over the edge and into the depths again. With Birkin out of the way, Leon goes back to help Ada. She tells him that he should get out of there while he still can, but Leon refuses to leave her there. She says they need to get to Nest, the lab right beneath them. They find a cable car that can take them there, and thankfully, Ada has the ID wristband that will get it moving. On the way down to Nest, Ada reminds Leon that this is a federal case, and once they get hold of the G-virus, she and him are going to go their separate ways. Leon doesn't like this, but she asks him to trust her. Leon flips that and asks if she trusts him. A fair question, since she's been nothing but mysterious. She says that she does trust him, as he is the last hope she's got of getting the G-virus sample and bringing Umbrella to justice. She then kisses Leon, and they arrive at Nest. She gives Leon the wristband and tells him to go as they don't have much time, and entering the facility, it's empty. There are a few zombified eggheads about. One of the dead zombies in the sleeping quarters has a higher level clearance for Leon's wristband, so he snags that and uses it to access the east area. Stepping into this place is wild. It's a greenhouse, and it seems the plants are alive. The researcher currently pinned to the glass here has the next level of ID tag for Leon's wristband, so he heads into the greenhouse to try and work out how to get this plant to drop the poor guy. With most of the place overgrown with vines, Leon comes up against what Umbrella calls their ivy zombies. They were once regular human beings, until they were infected by Plant 43 after they got infected by its seedlings. Plant 43 is the improved version of Plant 42, which Chris Orgel encountered in the dorms.
Need that J-Volt.
Leon finds a note stating that the only real way to kill the ivy zombies is to burn them until they are black as ash. Learning that Plant 43 can be killed, Leon needs to obtain a compound and then freeze it in order to kill it via dispersal. He finds the dispersal agent, freezes it, and disperses it, killing Plant 43, which releases the worker. Grabbing the ID tag, Mr. X is back again, but Leon manages to escape to the central section of Nest and uses his security clearance to get over to the west area. Leon finds more of Hunk's squad here, dead, killed by Birkin. A little bit further into this wing, Leon finds a sample of the G-virus just sat there. Even Leon himself remarks how easy it was to get it. Leaving though, nothing is ever that simple, as during his trip back to Ada, G. Birkin decides to
Big
drop
baby
in, and Leon says
Birkin.
he's mutated further since their last encounter. Annette runs in and shoots him with an anti-BOW agent, and this causes him to collapse. Leon asks why she's called the beast William, to which Annette responds that this is all Umbrella's mess, and Leon quite rightly tells her that she is Umbrella too. She says that they never meant for this to happen.
They always say
William was
this.
shot by the Umbrella security services, and as a last-ditch effort to get back at Umbrella and hunt down Hunk and his men, he injected himself with the G-virus, of course, meaning that he survived his fatal gunshot wounds by mutating into G.
He
During
thought
Leon
he
and
was
Annette's
him. He
chat,
thought his
William
genes
grabs
could
her and
take
seriously
it.
wounds her, then mutating into what is his third stage. Leon is then lowered down by Annette into the area below, where he is forced to do battle with G once again. Blasting away at his weak spots, Leon is able to put him down again. Speaking with a dying Annette, she begs Leon to destroy the G sample. He says that he will not, as it's evidence, and that it's going to the FBI. She laughs, asking if Leon trusts Ada. Annette says that Ada is not FBI, but is instead a mercenary who is going to sell it to the highest bidder. Leon doesn't want to believe it, but Annette then dies. Going back to the central area, Leon finds Ada there.
Traitor. To this day, I still don't know what side Ada's on.
That makes two of us. I was getting worried.
we make a good team. I gotta ask you something.
Way's clear. Please, tell me you got it.
Oh, I got it.
Let me verify the G sample when we get the hell out of here.
Before we do that, I ran into Annette. She claims you're not FBI.
Oh, Leon. Why couldn't you just hand over the sample?
As I realized, as much as I wanted to trust you, I didn't.
I really hoped it wouldn't end up like this.
So that's all this was. I was just some pawn to you?
Look, I'm just doing my job.
And I'm doing mine, so drop that damn gun! I'm taking you in.
Hand over the sample, Leon. I don't want to hurt you.
And you shoot me. But I don't think you can.
Yeah, we saw all this.
No one gets that sample now.
Hold on. I think I get it.
Forget it.
Shut up, got you.
It's not worth it.
And then this is where Ada dies for the first time. She pulled out a grappling hook out her ass.
Take care of yourself, Leon.
No!
So, a little bit about Ada. Remember back in the Arkley laboratory that John Clemens, the guy put in charge of T-virus research after Birkin left to work on Golgotha, wrote to his girlfriend asking her not to let them, Umbrella, get away with this? Well, this is John Clemens, Ada. This is her investigating what happened. She actually worked there at the laboratory and she had managed to escape during the outbreak in the Arkley labs. Truth is that she was actually working for one of Umbrella's rival companies and was, I guess you could say, a double agent, and was obtaining classified information for her employers. Who approached her for this role? Well, it was none other than Albert Wesker, who had been given a job with Umbrella's rival organization, despite him not delivering to them what he'd promised. So instead, he'd promised them that he'd get them the G-virus. But back to Leon. With the Nest facility crumbling around him, Leon needs to get a move on. On one of the monitors, he sees Claire. Leon tries to speak with her and she says she's found a way out, but the transmission dies. She also said we found a way out, but who is we? Well, let's take a short break and look at what Claire got up to after leaving Leon at the gate. At some point, Claire came across a terrified young girl, Sherry. Now, young Sherry here is William and Annette's only daughter. When the outbreak kicked off big time, Sherry was instructed by her mother to stay at their home, but she got scared and left, going to the RPD because, as you'll recall, it was being used as a centre for refuge. When the situation got bad there, Sherry had hidden around the police station. Now, this is very important. Due to the nature of the G-virus, William, who had injected himself, was trying to find a suitable host in order to implant the G embryos into, and he needed a perfect match. This match was Sherry. At one point, shortly after meeting Claire, Sherry was taken by Chief Irons to the orphanage and locked in a room, but she managed to escape the room and witnessed Irons practicing his evil hobby of kidnapping and killing young women. This is Mayor Warren's daughter, Catherine. Anyway, Sherry injured Irons and he is eventually killed by Birkin whilst he's attacking Sherry. It's at this point that Claire reunites with her, and they are chased into the sewers by Mr. X, who is torn apart by Birkin. The elevator crashes to the bottom of the shaft, and Claire was knocked out. Waking up, she saw Annette standing there, muttering observations about her G-husband. She said that Sherry was safe somewhere else. Claire later saw Sherry through a window and managed to rescue her, but found her to have been infected by her father. They then both took the cable car down to Nest, and Claire went to find a cure for Sherry, by way of an antiviral agent kept there called Devil. Finding it, she returned to Sherry and gave the antiviral to her. They then escaped down into the bottom of Nest, where they came across a train car, and that leads us to this point, where Leon sees Claire on the monitor. Whilst Leon is
okay, yeah, that was like a quick-ass recap.
Mr. X, Claire is fighting, a still alive Birkin, and defeats him. They manage to leave Nest using the tunnels, and Leon is able to join them on board. But this joyful reunion is interrupted by Birkin. Needing to get rid of him before he devours the train cars, Claire goes and deals with him. Eventually, with Claire in danger of being eaten alive, Leon's quick thinking sees him decouple the train car with Birkin on it, and using a steel pipe, Claire rams it through his eye, and they speed away as Birkin is engulfed by flames from Nest self-destructing. Back outside again, Leon, Claire, and Sherry leave Raccoon City behind and walk away, happy that they survived the incident. Ada also survived but was badly injured. She had managed to get the sample of the G-virus for Wesker and their employer, managing to escape the city.
Her damn grappling hook.
And her predicament. With Carlos having taken Jill to the Spencer Memorial Hospital, he places her onto a gurney. His hope is that Dr. Bard will be able to save her with the vaccine he was talking about. He finds the entrance to Dr. Bard's lab, but it's got a voice lock on it. Carlos finds a recorder on a nearby desk, but he just needs something with Bard's voice on it. Bard's warning about there being abominations at the hospital was no joke, and Carlos has to deal with not only zombies, but also hunters as well. Dealing with them, he's able to find a suitable tape recording containing Bard's voice. Taking it back to the lab, he uses the tape and is allowed entry, but he finds Bard there, dead, by a single gunshot wound to the head. Judging from a bloodstained note there, it seems that Dr. Bard was in contact with many of the Raccoon City elite, and even United States senators, and regularly enjoyed banquets and other treats, likely all at taxpayers' expense. It's revealed that one particular senator, a Greg Tester, was accepting cash bribes from Umbrella in exchange for introducing their drugs onto the market. Anyway, checking a computer there for where the vaccine could be, all Carlos finds are emails from Bard to Senator Tester, and these show his concern for how quick the virus was spreading and that even Senator Tester himself won't be safe from it once it covers the whole country. He says that Tester has always been a good friend to him, so he offered him the only dose of the vaccine he had left. Bard didn't want to give it to any of his family members as he believed that the senator was the future of the United States. This was Bard essentially trying to find a way out of the city and away from Umbrella, and offered the vaccine in exchange for it. He wanted the senator to send in a team to retrieve him from the hospital, but of course this team would never come. He also finds a video recording of Bard, who starts to talk about bringing the truth to light and his hope of restoring some honor to his name. He talks about the release of the T-virus into Raccoon City, a bioweapon, and that Umbrella are the ones responsible for it, and ordered Bard's team to create the vaccine for it, which they store underground. However, the Umbrella board want the vaccine destroyed and are trying to cover up any and all evidence that a T-virus ever existed. This is all news to Carlos. What Jill said to him earlier about Umbrella being responsible makes a whole lot of sense now, and Jill trusted Carlos anyway. He punches the screen in anger, hoping the vaccine that Bard had offered to the senator is still there. He's in luck. He grabs it and returns to Jill, administering the vaccine to her, and all he can do now is wait. A short while later, Tyrell shows up, and he's injured. He's okay, but he turns on the TV, and they both listen.
Attention all citizens. The contagion spreading throughout the city has been designated uncontainable. On October 1st, Raccoon City will be completely destroyed in a missile strike. All residents capable of rational thought are urged to evacuate immediately. This is not a test. Attention all citizens.
I mean, that's only a day away. There's still people in the city. You think Uncle Sam gives a shit? Fuck.
Honestly, I'm kind of with Uncle Sam at this point. Like, kind of a lost cause.
Many of Umbrella's nasty BOWs trying to get inside the hospital, Tyrell works to close the shutters from inside the safe room, whilst Carlos kills all the zombies that get inside. After dealing with them all and using explosives to destroy a pillar there, blocking the way in, the zombies are kept at bay for now, so Carlos checks on Tyrell and Jill. He says that the vaccine seems like the real deal, as Jill looks like she's improving. Carlos tells Tyrell to tell the government that they found a cure, and to try and stall for time, as he's going to go and find the vaccine that Bard said was kept underground. With Jill waking up now after suffering another nightmare, this time of an infected Carlos attacking her, she hears the TV report, or warning, that Raccoon City will be sterilized within the next few hours. Leaving the room and speaking with Tyrell, who told her that Carlos carried her to the hospital and cured her through the use of a vaccine, she feels she has to return the favor and to help him find it. Jill, like Carlos did, discovers that Umbrella, who had funded the construction of this hospital through the Spencer Foundation, had built it to connect to their Nest 2 facility. This is a facility which, unlike the other Nest facility where Leon, Claire and Sherry just were, is dedicated towards the creation of fail-safes, should any viruses leak or any BOWs get a bit too boisterous. Some nurses and staff were pretty intrigued as to what was behind the forbidden door in the reception area of the hospital. People would show up to collect deceased patients, and not the usual mortuary guys either, and they would take them through the forbidden door.
Yeah, I couldn't work at a hospital like that. If bodies are disappearing and you ain't telling me,
taking an elevator down, Jill comes
put in my 2
arsehole
weeks.
Nikolai, who sets another mutation on her, this one being called a palehead. They grow back and restore any damage done to them at an incredible rate, and it requires an extraordinary amount of firepower to be able to kill them. This storage area also houses some of the Hunter Gammas as well. After finding a bunch of fuses, Jill goes up to confront Nikolai, but he's not there. He left an email on the screen though, and it details his observations regarding Jill and Carlos, and also betraying his squad by leading them into an ambush just so he could get the combat data. He mentions that the bioweapon that has been pursuing Jill, being consistent with something he refers to as Project N. He's been collecting all the combat data by watching Jill fight Umbrella's bioweapon, but for who? Tyrell shows up, and although in a great deal of pain and exhausted, he's made of tough stuff. He says he's made contact with the government and they're willing to negotiate. They'll call off the strike if they deliver the vaccine to them before they launch. With only hours to spare, they need to get going, but a short ways down the corridor, Jill's old foe shows up again and kills Tyrell. She tries her best to save him, but he's done for, so she makes a run for it, managing to get to safety. Now in Nest 2, Jill finds the vaccine synthesis machine but needs 2 compounds in order to create a usable vaccine base. Moving through the facility, encountering more zombies, paleheads, and hunters, along with seeing some of the tyrants inside their containment pods, Jill is able to obtain both samples, the antigen and the adjuvant. She also comes across some very interesting information about her friend, the bioweapon. You'll recall that the T-002 tyrant was destroyed by STARS during the Mansion incident. Workers at Umbrella began work on a new model. The T-103 was developed, which, as we saw, served as bodyguards for Colonel Vladimir, and which fought Wesker in the training school. These tyrants had the quality Umbrella were hoping for, which was human-like intelligence. The same tyrant that was pursuing Leon and Claire, but onto Project Nemesis. The project was actually built around the parasite itself, to create a parasitic organism that could take complete control of a BOW. Remember, this is the same parasite that Birkin had introduced to Lisa Trevor. So they implanted the Nemesis alpha parasite into the T-103. The T-103, unlike previous tyrant models, was a perfect host for the Nemesis alpha parasite, as it resulted in the Nemesis T-type. It seems that Nikolai thinking the bioweapon was connected to Project N was spot on, as this bioweapon was a product from Umbrella's European labs. Dr. Bard would write to the Umbrella researchers in Umbrella Europe's 6th laboratory, offering his congratulations, but he did state his concern over parasitic infections, stating that viruses can be kept in check by way of vaccines and parasites cannot. Bard cited the struggle to find a vaccine for parasitic infections such as malaria, as infections like malaria are far more complex than the T-virus. Nonetheless, Umbrella shipped old Nemi over to Raccoon City on the 1st of September 1998. Anyway, Jill needs to crack on and create this vaccine, so mixing the two compounds together, she uses the synthesis machine to synthesize the vaccine. It's done. It's over. She can go and find Carlos and can leave now, right? Wrong. Nemesis shows up again and grabs her, throwing her as she tries to escape using a vent. But her progress is halted by Nemesis. She is able to get away from it via a small lift, and this takes her to an area that's a biohazard disposal facility, which houses some large acid vats. Nemesis busts through the wall, very angry, and destroys the stairs she is on. She drops the vaccine she grafted to obtain, and who should show up to steal it? Nikolai, who's claiming he needs this vaccine more than she does. He says he's in this business to get paid, so he tells Jill that if she puts on a good show against Nemesis, he can get the combat data and he'll give her the vaccine back.
Oh, of
He stamps
course.
on her hand and she falls into the biohazard disposal pit, where she once again has to face off against this pain in the arse. Putting on a good show for that tosser Nikolai, Jill uses the electrical boxes on the acid vats to shock Nemesis and deal some damage to it. Delivering a fair bit of punishment, Carlos shows up and helps Jill out by knocking the thing for 6 with the crane. He then floods the pit with acid, causing Nemesis to writhe about in agony, and much to the delight of Jill, it dissolves and sinks into the acid bath. Going after Nikolai and the vaccine, surprise surprise, he's not willing to part with it, telling Jill that this should be an ongoing arrangement, as her combat skills are essentially a money print to him. Something causes a violent disruption where they are stood, and Jill falls down into a large open area, but it can't be Nemesis, can it? Well, it can, actually, as Nemesis is now mutated into a huge gross biomass. Still intent on bringing Jill down. Nikolai looks on and marvels at what Umbrella created, no doubt dreaming of all the money he can make.
Ew.
He says the city is about to be gone.
What? But like, why would you? At a certain point, you need to make a fail safe for these type of things, because there's no way now.
Destroying pustules on what is now stage 4 Nemesis, Jill grabs a massive railgun, shoves it into Nemesis.
Make him swallow on that shit, deep throat it.
Mess of a bioweapon into a fine red paste. Catching up with Carlos after riding an elevator up to the roof, she finds him lying on the helipad. Nikolai then attacks Jill and throws the vaccine down next to her, but then shoots it, destroying any chance humanity had at stopping the T-virus without completely destroying the city. He reveals that his client had ordered him to reduce Umbrella to rubble. That's what he's being paid for. That's all he cares about. With 10 minutes until the missiles hit Raccoon City, Nikolai takes that as his cue to leave, but just as he's about to shoot Jill, Carlos comes to her rescue and fights him. He's grabbed by Nikolai, but Jill is able to shoot him in the leg. Carlos is hurt, but okay. Jill demands to know who Nikolai was working for, but he refuses to tell her unless she gets him out of there, and that he'll pay her whatever she wants. Unfortunately for him, he has a pretty terrible track record when it comes to trust, and Jill isn't really bothered about making a fortune. After telling him she does not mind a little detective work, she and Carlos take the chopper and leave Nikolai stranded there on the roof.
It was Wesker.
He laughs as he accepts the inevitable. Injured,
it's always Wesker.
Screwed. With Carlos and Jill now having left the city, she spots a missile fly past the chopper, headed for the city. Raccoon City is then destroyed via thermobaric bomb, fired by the US government. The shockwave from the blast disrupts the chopper, but Carlos is able to bring it back under control. A short while later, Jill picks up the broken vaccine canister, indicating that she's getting to work in finding information she can use to expose Umbrella. But what of Leon and Sherry? Well, Leon took care of Sherry until they got caught by the United States military. Since she had G-virus antibodies, the military wished to research the poor girl, and Leon was interrogated by a US government official by the name of Adam Benford. Leon knew quite a lot of information that the US government would very much like to keep hush-hush, so thanks to his skill, he was forced into working for the government. The trade-off for this was that Sherry would be safe, from Wesker mainly, as he wanted the G-virus antibodies inside her and Leon would, get to live. He would receive specialist training, basically turning him into an agent working for an agency that was anti-Umbrella, and that was under the control of the president, and was part of United States Strategic Command, or US Stratcom for short. As for Oswell E. Spencer, with Umbrella operations still going on over in Africa, and word that links would be made between Umbrella and the progenitor virus, Spencer shut down operations in Africa and had researchers there, including Brandon Bailey, killed, although it's not clear as to whether or not Bailey had been killed.
Oh, okay.
He did this so he could build anew, using the progenitor virus again. Before his death, Bailey wrote about feeling indifferent when he'd heard about the destruction of both the Arkley Laboratory and Raccoon City. He writes that he stopped caring about things the day he'd learned that James Marcus died, since James Marcus was his teacher. All Bailey was there doing was sending out samples of progenitor to his Umbrella colleagues all around the world. He didn't care that the research center in Africa had been shut. But now let's move on over to a small Umbrella-controlled island called Sheena Island. So Sheena Island was another location where an outbreak had occurred. Sometime in early November, not long after the destruction of Raccoon City, a researcher of Umbrellas is hanging from a chopper, saying that whoever is flying it is not going to get away. The man falls from the chopper and the chopper itself crashes. And the man flying the chopper is okay, miraculously, but stands up with absolutely no memory of who or where he is. Armed with a gun, he approaches the man who fell from the chopper. He says the man looks familiar, but he can't recall who he is. The man's holding dog tags which bear the name Ark Thompson. The man turns around and finds that he's being approached by a zombie, so he shoots it and puts it down.
Oh, what the hell is this?
Buildings on the island, the man heads into a church and finds a diary that belongs to the church manager. He writes that a week after the destruction of Raccoon City, the leaders of each section of this city island sat down to discuss it. They made sure that the blame for what happened in Raccoon City was placed entirely on the head of William Birkin, as he had betrayed Umbrella. The commander of the city had told the section leaders that if they have any traitors like Birkin in the city, then they should execute them immediately and without question. The commander told them that this city is even more important to Umbrella as Raccoon City was. The church manager writes that they can't allow a biohazard containment leak to happen in the city, as that would essentially waste the money that Umbrella has poured into acquiring the island, as well as establishing these expensive facilities. They all agreed to keep a closer eye on the personnel there. Fighting his way through the streets, the man hears a phone ringing. The person on the phone speaks and says the name Vincent. The man assumes he must be called Vincent, and the person on the phone calls Vincent a murderer and hangs up. Vincent heads into an arcade, and once inside, a pair of helicopters show up and drop off some agents from Umbrella's Undertaker unit. Essentially considered cleaners, this unit are BOWs themselves and go and clean areas, removing any evidence of Umbrella involvement. This unit enters the arcade and try to take out Vincent, but they're quite easy to kill. In the back room, Vincent is then spotted by the man who was on the phone, who sees him through the window telling him to die. Vincent takes cover and the man leaves. Vincent then heads down into the sewers. Entering into a side room here, Vincent finds a diary written by the janitor, or sewers caretaker, Andy. Before everything went to pot in Raccoon City on September 6th, Andy writes about how someone by the name of Vincent had become the city's supreme commander, an elite sent by Umbrella HQ. Vincent was considered a cold and callous man. On September 20th, Andy would write about a rumor he'd heard, that Vincent had ordered the staff at Umbrella's research facility to conduct experiments on children who had been kidnapped from all over the world. But Andy didn't really want to get involved. 10 days after the destruction of Raccoon City, Andy wrote about a terrible accident happening on the surface. He didn't know the details, but he'd heard that Commander Vincent had done something extremely cruel. Then on November 9th, Commander Vincent went down to the sewers to carry out an inspection, and Andy writes how he saw cruelty in him. Andy thought this was a good time to take a photo of the guy, and Vincent became angry. Vincent picks up the photo Andy wrote about, and sure enough, it's him. I guess there's no doubt that he is indeed Vincent. He doesn't like it given all the bad stuff he's heard and read about the man the islanders know as Vincent, and that what's going on this island is all his fault. A young boy enters the room begging Vincent not to kill him. He says something strange before running off, that he didn't know anything about him back then. With no other leads to follow other than going after the young lad, Vincent heads back up to street level and emerges in front of Paradise, which despite the name is actually a prison complex where the children would be held prior to being used in experiments. This place too is populated by the undead, but Vincent is to blast his way through them. He finds another journal, this time in the offices, written by the prison chief. He writes about how on October 20th, 20 of what he refers to as guinea pigs, test subjects, took their own lives all at once. He wondered when HQ were going to send more subjects. Turns out this was a false report sent by the prison chief, as 20 subjects had escaped. He was terrified of telling Commander Vincent what actually happened. Commander Vincent managed to track the children down and brutally gun them all down, smiling while he did it. The prison chief felt that he had a duty to report Commander Vincent to Umbrella HQ, but in truth, he was absolutely terrified. Another diary in the prison cells area written by a man who was abducted says that he was abducted from the Congo in mid-August 1998. He writes that all the residents of this city, in some capacity, work for Umbrella or are family members of Umbrella staff. He writes that his fellow guinea pigs are from all over the world, China, Russia, Japan, and that they're all around the same age. Umbrella would take the prisoners to the arcade or cinema in order to keep them entertained and in good spirits. He writes about how some of the children seem to be behaving strangely and suspects that something was placed into their food. The young man mentions a factory on the mountain and that his friend Chin was taken there by Umbrella researchers. He then overheard a conversation between two researchers who say that they cut open the kids' brains and extract some sort of material from them. Hearing this only exacerbated their need to escape the prison, the experiments, and the island. The young man writes sometime later that Umbrella researchers have been visibly disturbed, and he's heard rumors that an accident happened at an Umbrella laboratory, which of course was the Arkley laboratory. News travels to this island quite slow, I guess. Passing through this prison, outside, Vincent comes face to face with a tyrant. Avoiding it or temporarily putting it down, he passes through a bar and comes out the other side in front of the Umbrella office building. Just looking at the building causes Vincent to suffer head pain, as his memories begin to return to him. Making his way through the offices,
I was evil all along.
Vincent spots a young girl on a monitor and attempts to speak to her through it. The scared girl doesn't respond. More of Vincent's memories start to come back to him. Flashes of things that happened prior to his memory loss and him fighting the Umbrella researcher that was hanging onto the chopper in this very room. He finds his own diary too. He wrote that he shot the children that escaped the prison because he himself is scared of Umbrella and what they'd do if they found out. But really, this was just Vincent being worried he'd miss out on his reward for achievements there on Sheena Island. Vincent wrote that people in the city were opposing him, that they were gathering information about him, intending to report him to Umbrella HQ. He mentions a young boy, Lot, who told him a spy managed to sneak into the city, and Vincent suspected this spy may have been the one who organized the rebellion. Vincent wrote that he'd let the spy do his thing, and then find out who he was working for, and then he'd kill him. The diary then reveals that the people on the island who opposed him had their evidence, and it was to be handed over to HQ. He was angry, saying that he'd teach those who opposed him, and he then caused a T-virus outbreak on the island. He planned to go back to Umbrella HQ and report back his great achievements. The evidence that people who opposed him had was a result of them wiretapping his phone, as this recorded his conversations in regard to the massacre of the 20 young people and killing a colleague so he could get a promotion. Further into the facility, Vincent hears a strange voice, claiming to be his mother, telling him that he should leave Umbrella to stop performing terrible crimes and to come back home. Walking around the corner, he
could you please stop committing terrible crimes and come back home?
Tries to run away. Calming her down a bit, she says that her brother had told her to wait there, and her brother attempts to whack Vincent with a baseball bat. It's the young boy from the room in the sewers. The girl, Lily, reveals the boy's name is Lot, the boy Vincent wrote about in his diary. Both Lily and Lot then run off. Going after the two, Vincent manages to track them down to their parents' house. Inside, he's able to find Lot's diary, and reveals that Lily and Lot's parents were Umbrella researchers, and the two children would go to the arcade. Lot comments that the people there, the subjects, looked sleepy, wore rugs and smelled rotten. Lot's father would lie and say that Umbrella brought the young people there so they would receive treatment and become decent people. But confusion would creep into Lot's mind when he learned that Commander Vincent killed the 20 escapees, as he's been led to believe by his father that they were actually helping them. Then Lot writes about the outbreak, that monsters were all over the city and were attacking people. He writes that his parents also succumbed to the T-virus and turned into monsters, and that he couldn't trust anyone now. His only job was to protect his younger sister and to escape the city. Vincent checks a cupboard upstairs and finds Lily hiding inside it. Speaking with her and asking where Lot is, she says he's gone to the factory on the mountain, a dangerous place. She says Lot told her he would try and find a way off the island. She begs Vincent to help Lot, so he sets out and makes his way up the mountain path via the cable car, whilst Lily hides there in the house. At the top, Vincent comes to the ruins of an old mansion which sits on top of and conceals the Umbrella laboratory. Vincent hears Lot yelling, so he descends into the lab. Moving through it, finding the inevitable, which is infected everywhere, including POWs, Vincent is able to find a factory worker's diary which mentions the experiments. The factory worker writes that he'd have to sever the young people's skull from their bodies and extract a part of their brain. This caused immense guilt in him. Commander Vincent would tell him not to see them as humans, but raw material, to create tyrants. Turns out they were extracting a chemical called beta-heteronon-serotonin. Vincent eventually manages to track Lot down, and he's attempting to fight off a hunter, which forces him over the edge. Vincent quickly kills the beast in order to help Lot, and he says sorry to Vincent. Lot tells him he isn't Vincent, he is the spy that went to the island. That he is in fact Ark Thompson. Lot reveals that he ran away from him earlier, because he is the one that told the real Vincent about him and that he was a spy. Back in the office in the sewers, Lot was scared that Ark would try and kill him, which explains what Lot said earlier on about not knowing anything about him. Lot reveals that Ark had in fact pretended to be Vincent, but Lot knew Vincent and of course, he told Vincent. The real Vincent is the guy that was hanging on to the top,
okay.
with the facility beginning to violently
It would have been more
shake,
interesting if,
island,
like,
Lot recalls that his father
it was
told
the
him about a
opposite.
railway station not far from there. Ark tells Lot to go and get his sister, and that he'll meet them at the station. He then remembers that it was his friend Leon Kennedy who had contacted him in order to investigate Sheena Island, and that he was confronted by Vincent in his office. Ark pushed Vincent over, and he ripped off his dog tags, hence why Ark thought that this guy was Ark Thompson. Anyway, Ark fled to a chopper, and Vincent jumped to grab on, leading to the chopper crashing and Ark suffering amnesia in the crash. Ark is confronted by the leader of the Undertaker unit, who tells him that the island will be gone in a matter of minutes. But he is killed by Umbrella's newest tyrant. After having to face this one, being the Hypnos T-type, made using the chemical from the young people's
Motherfucker look like
brains,
Pepsi
Ark
Man.
makes it to the train station. He, Lot, and Lily then board the train and escape the facility, but the troubles aren't over yet, as they still need to get off and away from the island before it's destroyed. They get ready to use a chopper to escape, but the Hypnos tyrant shows up and Ark is forced to fight and defeat it. He does so and they fly away, but the Hypnos tyrant is not done and hangs onto the chopper. So Ark uses one of the missiles on the chopper to get the tyrant off, and uses another one to destroy the tyrant completely. They then fly off towards the mainland, with Umbrella's mass production of tyrants having been dealt a major blow. But we now shift our focus over to Claire Redfield's search for her brother Chris in Europe, but let's go back a bit first, to 1968. After Edward Ashford had died, killed
Claire goes back in time to
his son
1968.
Alexander took over as head of the family. The next year in 1969, Alexander constructed a base in Antarctica and continued with what he'd been working on prior to his father's death, something called the Code Veronica project, named after Veronica Ashford, a former noblewoman and the founder of the Ashford family. The purpose of this project was to resurrect Veronica Ashford, attempting to combine Veronica's DNA with a gene Alexander had discovered that could increase intelligence, along with his own DNA. A breakthrough of sorts was achieved in 1971. Twins were birthed, with them being named Alfred and Alexia Ashford. Only Alexia operated on a genius-level intellect, whereas Alfred was considered a failure, as he was only slightly above normal intelligence.
Damn.
These were clones, if you like, of Veronica Ashford. The aim was to restore the reputation of the Ashford family, since many people thought that the Ashford family line had been cursed ever since Edward Ashford helped found Umbrella. It also had the secondary aim of preventing Oswald Spencer from taking full and total control of Umbrella should something happen to Edward Ashford, which of course had happened at the time Alexander was first working on Code Veronica. Alexander became concerned about the public finding out how these twins were created, and not only that, but that these two were also quite sadistic, showing absolutely no regard for human life. Turns out that when the pair were 12 years of age, whilst at the Antarctica base, Alfred had come across an entrance to a secret room which was locked and needed specific gemstones in order to open it. Alfred had managed to get 2 of them, and using the final one from Alexia's necklace, they opened the room up and discovered how they came to be. They grew to hate their father as a result. At some point, it's said that Alexia Ashford died at a young age. But that's enough backstory for now, back to the present day. After the Raccoon City incident, Claire Redfield had travelled to Paris, Europe, to search for her brother. Her investigations had led her to one of Umbrella's European labs, but upon breaking inside, she was caught by Umbrella security services and taken to an island called Rockford Island, where she is knocked out by a guard. Waking up later in a cell, the whole area begins to shake, and she hears the sound of jets. She is released by the guard there, named Rodrigo, who captured her back in Paris. He seems to be injured and says this place is finished by what he calls a special forces team. He says this prison has been taken over and Claire is free to go, despite him claiming she has no chance of getting off the island. Before she departs, he passes out. On the ground lies a bottle that Rodrigo threw in frustration, which is, or was, a hemostatic. Claire leaves this small prison area and emerges out into a graveyard. Unfortunately, there are soon threats everywhere, familiar threats, similar to the ones Claire had already faced back in Raccoon City 3 months ago. In a small courtyard, Claire is fired upon by someone in a watchtower. Grabbing a gun from next to a zombified corpse, she fires on the person in the tower. He tells her to stop, but he's confused as she's not a zombie. Speaking with the man, he apologizes and introduces himself as Steve. He is a prisoner on the island. He says that he's heard there's an airport around there, and he says that once he finds it, then he can escape. He doesn't want Claire to follow him though, as he claims that she'll only slow him down. After Steve has left, Claire searches some nearby buildings, and after encountering yet more zombies, she finds some information as to where she may be. As a prisoner's diary indicates that this prison may be south of the equator. The prisoner also wrote that people get taken to a building nearby, and that they never return from there. This prisoner had deduced that prisoners were being taken there to be used as Alfred's own guinea pigs. The thing about this place is that the Ashfords set it up as a prison to hold people who had either betrayed the family or Umbrella itself. Inside another building, she finds Steve there at a computer, looking up Claire's record, and he mentions her brother, Chris. Steve has read that Chris is under surveillance by Umbrella, much to the surprise of Claire, who says that she should make contact with Leon so that he can warn Chris about said surveillance, and so he can tell Chris where she is. After a short argument about Chris's ability to get to the island and rescue Claire, Steve storms off in a mood. Eventually, Claire reaches a bridge, and crossing it, she comes to a training facility, and in one of the labs, she encounters a bloodied man behind the glass, who is frantically banging on it, but Claire cannot hear what he's saying. The man is then attacked by a bioweapon and is killed. This results in a biohazard containment breach, which triggers an alarm, and Claire only just makes it out of there before the place gets sealed off. Further up the path, Claire enters a large mansion.
Of course, it's always a mansion.
Exploring the place, Claire finds the secretary's note upstairs. The man writes that Alfred is said to live in this private house, and that he's seen a woman standing at the window, who he thinks may be Alexia Ashford. He remarks on her notoriously extreme beauty. However, the man did ask Alfred about this, but it enraged him. The secretary was intrigued, though, as to why Alfred desperately tried to keep it a big secret. Claire also finds a strange door, locked, with a contraption featuring indentations where 2 guns are supposed to be placed. Downstairs, she finds a strange button, and pressing it, a film plays on a projector.
Yeah, sickos. Ugh. Don't kiss.
This moves a cabinet aside, and inside this secret corridor are 2 golden Luger pistols. These are just what Claire needs for the contraption on the door upstairs. Unfortunately, she needs something to replace these, otherwise she'll be trapped in this corridor with the gas. Going to leave this mansion, she hears the unmistakable scream of Steve. He got lured in by the Luger pistols and is now stuck, so after messing with a puzzle, she's able to save him. She asks that he give her the Lugers, but he wants them for himself, telling her that they're hers if she can find him something fully automatic to replace them. He runs off again. Going to leave the mansion, Claire finds a surprise waiting for her in the main entrance. It's Alfred Ashford, and he fires on her. He scolds Claire for interfering with his operation and thinks that she purposely got captured so that she could lead her people to Rockford Island. He claims he's the commander of this base. She taunts him, telling him he's clearly not high up in Umbrella if they put him in charge of a base like this. He boasts, saying his grandfather, Edward, the 7th Earl, is one of the founders of Umbrella. He says shortly after Claire arrived, the base was attacked, which explains the sounds of jets, explosions, and what Rodrigo said earlier. Alfred says that due to this attack, the T-virus was released, hence all the zombies around the base. He demands to know who Claire is working for and who sent her. Alfred promises that he'll keep Claire entertained before he disposes of her, and he leaves. Outside, Claire is able to use a wheel she found to reveal a secret submarine, which is actually a lift of sorts, as it takes her to an underground area. She finds a plane down there, and this must be the one that Steve was talking about. Unfortunately, this too needs items in order for it to become accessible. Claire sets off to find what she needs. Returning to the surface, Claire finds the first of the items she needs in order to gain access to the plane. That was easy. She heads back to the laboratories and encounters a massive gulp worm. Defeating it or evading it, she uses a newly acquired keycard to access a small courtyard where she is once again fired upon by Alfred.
He has notoriously terrible aim.
Now in a previously blocked off area, Claire realizes why Alfred ran away, as he lured her into this place to take part in one of his sick little games. He calls this his playground. Inside here, Claire is able to find a pair of SMGs. Perfect, as this is what she can trade Steve for the golden Lugers. Anyway, Claire is forced to fight a number of large BOWs, all for Alfred's enjoyment. Thankfully, Steve drops in to help out and uses his golden Lugers to kill the BOWs. He is more than happy to swap the Lugers for the twin SMGs, but Alfred has now dragged Steve into this dangerous game. But Steve now wants to test out his new guns, and single-handedly kills a bunch of zombies.
Yeah, just over there spamming.
The area, he talks about how guns are more reliable than any person could be, but only bringing Steve's
Yo,
family
Steve sucks.
makes him upset.
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, and he has that voice.
After venting his rage, he says that they should get going, and they take an elevator up to what could be a maintenance garage, but they fall from the platforms above. In here, though, Claire tells Steve there's a zombie behind him. However, freezes. This is Steve's father. So Steve was a prisoner alongside his father, who was accused of selling Umbrella data on the black market. Steve can't bring himself to shoot his father, even if he is a zombie, but he is eventually forced into action as his father turns to Claire.
Father!
Mourning his father, Steve tells Claire why he and his father were there, and this explains why he has no faith in people since his own father put him and his mother, who was killed, in danger, all for greed.
Damn.
Claire comforts Steve and leaves him there to mourn. Cracking on, she uses the golden Lugers to unlock that door, and behind it is Alfred's office. Inside said office is a computer, and the film she's already watched, in which Alfred was pulling the wings off of a dragonfly. 2 lights then come on one of the cabinets, and Claire now needs to put a password into the computer. Solving a puzzle involving the cabinet, she obtains a passcode, which is the year of both Alexia and Alfred's births, and she uses it to move it aside, revealing another secret passageway. Claire can't celebrate though, she's attacked by another BOW. This path is revealed to be a secret path to Alfred's private residence, but before going there, at some point Claire can find a hemostatic, can take it back to Rodrigo, and he's able to survive, giving Claire a lockpick as thanks. Inside a control room, she's able to find the second of the 3 items she needs to access the plane, a medallion with the army on it. Using a code to get into the lab where she saw the researcher get killed earlier on, Claire obtained a picture from the wall. She's attacked by the creatures in there, which results in another containment breach. She is fortunate as she's able to escape the lab. In the control room, she can find information on this creature, revealing it's called an albinoid, and it's a result of injecting salamander genes with the T-virus. An albinoid's body will change as it grows with age, and can grow up to 7 feet in around 10 hours. Using the picture in another room, reveals a diorama of the training facility behind a wall, and she obtains a gold key. Using the gold key, Claire gains access to a room which features portraits of previous Ashfords. Using a message to the new family master, who is of course Alfred, Claire solves a puzzle and it yields an earthenware vase. And looking inside the vase, she finds a queen ant object. But now let's head on over to Alfred's private residence. In an upstairs corridor, Claire hears the voice of who is presumably Alexia Ashford speaking with Alfred. They're talking about Claire and her being a threat, to which Alfred replies he's doing his best to revive their family name and make Alexia the master of the Ashfords. They suspect that someone is back there, so Claire must hide. They depart and Claire searches their rooms, which are back to back. Inside Alexia's room, she finds a music box and stops it playing its melody. And this reveals a key on the bed. After fighting the zombified doctor that carried out gross experiments on the prisoners here, she retrieves a glass eye and gains access to a dungeon of horrors filled up with all kinds of torture devices that the doctor liked to use. Exploring this area rewards her with something called a piano roll, but on the way back to the residence, there's someone else waiting for her now. It's Wesker. He's wearing a uniform with the letters HCF on the back and says that he was the one who attacked the island. He's very pleased that she's there, as that will mean Chris will inevitably show up there soon, and for a man out for revenge, that's perfect. Wesker then grabs Claire, telling her he despises her brother. Wesker is about to kill Claire, but then he gets a call from someone, and he leaves after booting Claire in the face and telling her she could still be of further use to him. His eyes flash red, a sign of his newfound powers. Using the key she got earlier, Claire gains access to a bar area and uses the.
So this would be the first time you discover that Wesker has powers, like chronologically. If you're like playing this from when this came out, I think this came out like in 2000.
She finds a silver dragonfly, which is actually a key. Using it on the ant mural in the room, this activates a small carousel in there, and taking another ladder up, Claire is on the upper level and finds a book which is a confession letter written by Alfred. In it, he says that his sister has unmatched beauty, and that he would overcome any obstacle and be willing to risk his life.
You weirdo!
Drives him towards his goal of reviving the name and reputation of the family, which fell under his father's leadership. He says that he'll build a palace where only nobles are able to gather, and he cannot allow any person who is unwashed to see his Alexia. He will be her servant, and she shall be his queen. These accomplishments will be the proof of his love for her. Alfred ends this by calling all other people meaningless. Also up there is the final piece she needs in order to access the plane. Heading back down the ladder, Claire is confronted by Alexia Ashford, who addresses her by name. She says that she'll kill Claire for the pride of the Ashford family, which she misses and goes to try again, but Steve shows up in the nick of time. She shoots Steve and disappears behind the two-way door. Alexia's dress has been discarded, and there's blood and a wig on the music box. Alfred is revealed to be above them, launching a surprise attack, but this fails. Alfred is wearing lipstick and makeup. He looks at himself in the mirror, freaks out, and runs off screaming. Alexia isn't there. Alfred was pretending to be her. The alarm then starts to sound, and it seems that Alfred has activated his self-destruct sequence. Outside, they look to the skies and see whatever survivors were on the island are leaving.
So this motherfucker was in love with himself.
Structure with Steve, Claire uses the 3 pieces she found, and this gives them access to the plane. Starting up the plane, unfortunately they can't take off until the gate in front of them has been lifted, so Claire finds the handle there and goes to lift the gate. Doing so, she has to go back to the surface and all the way around if she wants to get back to the plane. Problem is that she has 5 minutes to do so, and Alfred, the crafty little sod, has released a darn tyrant, a T-078, to hunt down Claire. This tyrant was brought to Rockford Island.
Okay, that one looks cool.
On the request of Alfred by Hunk and his Umbrella Special Forces team, although Hunk was bewildered as to why he wanted it. Anyhow, the tyrant does try and stop Claire, but she incapacitates it. We all know that it'll be back. And she gets back to the plane where she and Steve take off. However, there's always a however, that pain in the ass Alfred jumps into a fighter jet going after them. Feeling a thud from the plane's cargo bay opening, Claire goes back there to check it out and finds the tyrant on board with them. After a lot of firepower and using the crates in the cargo bay to help, they manage to defeat the tyrant by ejecting it from the plane. Despite this win, Steve and Claire's celebrations don't last long, as Alfred has caught up to them and is able to force activate the plane's autopilot and has set the plane's course, although he does not tell them where. With nothing else to do other than get some rest, Steve looks out the window and deduces from the coordinates that they are somewhere over the Antarctic. As
Are
they
you
approach
kidding
the
me?
structure, they deduce that this is an Umbrella lab. After crash landing, they emerge from the plane unscathed and head into the base itself. Exploring it, they find that workers here have been encased inside a substance, and there are giant moths flying around. Through more exploring and dealing with many more zombies, Claire moves a bookcase and hears some strange noises coming from the secret passageway behind it. There's something there making these noises, and judging from a diary found in the workers' sleeping quarters, it's something that the workers had heard stories about, and it's something they call Nosferatu. In a large mining area, she finds some control.
Nosferatu?
Steve comes in telling
A
Claire he's found
vampire?
out about an Australian observation base about 7 miles away from there, and that they should aim to get there when they're able to leave this base. Claire draws Steve's attention to a digging vehicle there, and if they can break the wall with it by using the crane, then they may be able to get out of there. They attempt to do so, but Steve is too busy having a good look at Claire. Such a good look that he smashes the digger right into a pipe
I would
carrying
too.
toxic gas, building the area. With the aim of shutting off the gas, they split up to try and make that happen. Thankfully, Claire is able to find a gas mask and a valve, and uses these to shut off the toxic gas flow. With that threat removed, Alfred decides it's time to make yet another appearance, but Steve saves the day again, firing on Alfred, and he falls off the balcony and into the depths. Hearing the
Let me
scream of
guess,
the
he's gonna
imprisoned
come back
creature
as like a
Nosferatu, who is
bioweapon.
now up and about, they decide now is the time to get the hell away from this island. Picking
Yo,
up
this
Alfred's
Cove
sniper,
Run
they use the
because
digger
seems
to
like a
smash the wall.
lot.
Now outside, they climb up to the helipad, but preparing to go, Nosferatu shows up. Smacking Steve off the helipad, Claire must face this monstrosity and defeat him before Steve loses his grip. Nosferatu is what actually remains of Alexander Ashford. Since she and Alfred hated him, Alexia had injected him with the T. Veronica virus. This experiment failed though, and Alexander became Nosferatu. Thankfully, Nosferatu is blind, and trying her best to avoid his poison clouds, Claire is able to aim at and shoot his exposed heart, killing him. Helping Steve up, they find a snowmobile and make for the Australian base, but Alfred is still alive. And
With no coats on,
Stumbling,
mind you, in
injured, The
Antarctica.
secret door he and Alexia had discovered when they were younger, he enters. In there sits a cryopod containing a young, blonde woman. This is the real Alexia. But let's go back a bit again to 1981. Alexia was somewhat of a child prodigy, and at the age of 10, on finishing the top of her class, she was employed by Umbrella not just as a virologist, but as a senior one in the Antarctica lab. William Birkin's ego couldn't handle this well, especially since at the time, his own research into the T-virus had hit a wall, so when he'd achieved Golgotha, he stated that he couldn't wait to see the look on Alexia, his rival's face, when he announces his research. So fast forward a bit, and Alexia had found an ancient virus inside a queen ant, and used this, along with the progenitor virus, to create what she called the T. Veronica virus. After she'd injected her father, Alexander, with the T. Veronica virus, she'd realized that it was a flawed virus and decided to make herself a subject. She injected herself with the virus, and she had theorized that placing herself in cryosleep afterwards would result in the virus slowing down. It wouldn't mutate her, but would instead allow her to gain all the powers of the virus. Before freezing herself in stasis, she tasked Alfred to protect her and do things for her in the meantime. Then, of course, 15 years
That's why he was
passed.
dressing
With
up like
Alfred
her, like a
dying,
weirdo.
He deactivates Alexia's stasis, and she awakens just as he draws his last breath. Fully embracing the power of the T. Veronica virus, she unleashes tentacles that chase and destroy the snowmobile that Claire and Steve are in, bringing it and them back to the base. Alexia then cradles her dead brother in her arms. Now, Leon had received Claire's earlier message and had informed Chris where she was, and he's now there in order to save his little sister. Little does he know, however, that she's actually now in the Antarctic. Scaling the rocks, he's able to gain access to a small cave system. He comes across Rodrigo. Chris mentions Claire, and Rodrigo said that he helped her escape, and that some planes took off from the island not long ago. He's not certain that she was on one of them, but Chris thanks Rodrigo for helping her. He tells Chris to follow his sister and to get off the island. The gulpworm then shows up and swallows the
Of course.
Meanwhile, Wesker, who's still there, is annoyed that Alexia is now fully awake, and he spots Chris on the monitors. He says that he's going to send some company to keep him entertained, and this is in the form of HCF's own Hunter BOWs, which Wesker's employers have managed to produce through stolen data. Searching the base and fighting Wesker's pets, Chris is confronted by him.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker? He's still alive?
Yo, the reaction to that.
What are you doing here?
I came for Alexia.
Who?
An organization
Who?
hired me to capture her.
Wait, you attacked the island. and my sister.
You have no idea how much I hate you. You destroyed my plans, so now I've sold my soul to a new organization. Now die.
Damn. Not the glasses.
Here's a little secret, Chris. I figured out that your sister is now in the Antarctic with Alexia. It's too bad you won't be seeing her again.
Ugh. Dual evil laughing.
Alexia?
Damn.
Fighting the BOW in the room with him, and now with the knowledge that Claire is actually in the Antarctic, Chris takes control of one of the jets at the base and uses it to fly to the base where Claire and Steve are being held. Sometime later, Chris arrives at the Antarctic base. Thanks to Alexia having been woken up, there are now tentacles all over the base, and because part of the base is busted, some of the areas in the base are frozen over too. Chris spots one of Wesker's hunter summoning surveillance drones, which means
again they're in Antarctica. He's wearing a short sleeve shirt.
Of the Spencer Mansion. He finds Claire in here pinned to the wall and passed out. Freeing her and waking her up, she is pleased to see Chris. He suggests they leave, but she says that they need to find Steve first. She also tries to get up but struggles, saying she thinks she's been poisoned. Chris leaves to go and find something to help Claire, and in the main part of the base he's able to get some serum. In the frozen over part of the base, on the way back to Claire, Chris uses a set of crane controls, and this pulls a frozen solid Nosferatu out of the ice. Alexia then shows herself, and a giant spider emerges from underneath the ice, and Chris has to run from it or defeat it. Either way, he's able to grab an item from Nosferatu's body, and it's Alexander's pierce. Separating the item, it gives Chris a green jewel. Returning to Claire, he administers the serum and she recovers, and Alexia is there again. She refers to Chris and Claire as inferior siblings and walks away,
what?
cackling. Chris says that she may know where Steve is, so they go after her, but she summons more tentacles in an effort to stop them pursuing. They destroy the balcony and Chris falls, hurting himself, and they hear Steve scream, so Claire must go ahead without Chris. Finding a security pass inside an old cannon, Claire uses it to open a security gate, and at the end of a long hallway, she finds Steve there. He's been strapped to the wall, right where Nosferatu used to be kept. Claire calls out his name when he comes to, still pretty groggy. Releasing him from his bindings, she tries to pull the axe out of the wall, but to no avail. Steve says that Alexia wanted to perform the same experiments on him that she and Alfred had performed on their father, but something then happens to Steve. He pushes Claire away and tells her he's struggling to breathe. He then mutates. Pulling the axe out of the wall, he chases Claire down the long hallway, and she's just about able to make it to safety as the security gate closes. Steve desperately tries to break the gate down to get to Claire, while she stands there in shock. Claire is grabbed by one of Alexia's tentacles,
not
and it attempts to
Steve.
squeeze the life out of her. But Steve, who has retained some of his old self, actually saves Claire by severing the tentacle, but he is mortally wounded by it as a result. Steve and Claire share a moment, and he tells her he loves her, and he dies.
What?
Back in the main hall, Wesker is there and has confronted Alexia. He demands that she go with him, as of course he and his employers want the T. Veronica virus, and the last sample is in her body. She responds Wesker is not worthy of its power, and approaching him she bursts into flame, and this is evidence that she has indeed become one with the virus, harnessing its true power, with her having discarded her skin and hair. Wesker discovers upon fighting her that it is impossible to hurt in this form, so he abandons the fight, leaving Chris to do battle with her. She utilizes her own blood, which catches fire on the ground.
Yo, she's actually
Chris
kind of a
gets
sick
upper hand,
boss.
and thus defeats her in battle. He picks up the choker that she dropped when she transforms, and this detaches, producing a red jewel, which he's able to place into the portrait at the top of the stairs, along with the jewel that he obtained from Nosferatu's corpse. Solving a puzzle that involves a paperweight, it's revealed that Alexia placed Albert's body into the cryopod. On Alfred's hand is a ring, itself holding the final jewel for the family portrait, and a hidden door is revealed to be behind it. Heading through the door, he finds a control room, and inside is a diary written by Alexander Ashford about how the twins came to be, along with replicas of the twins' bedrooms. Going to find Claire, Chris hears her sobbing behind a door, kind of deducing that Steve is no longer with them. Chris tells Claire they need to get out of there immediately. She's unable to unlock the door, but Claire says that if he activates the base's self-destruct sequence, the door should open. Doing exactly that and activating it by using the passcode Veronica.
Oh, it's gotta
Chris
blow
meets
some
with
shit
Claire,
up.
And they're confronted by a still alive Alexia, who emerges from some kind of gross pod. They activate and release an experimental weapon called the linear launcher, but this weapon first needs to be charged, so they'll have to deal with her until then. Chris tells Claire that he will deal with Alexia, but when Claire tries to leave, Alexia blocks her. And since she is pretty weak from their fight beforehand, the T. Veronica virus forces her transformation into a large biomass. Almost looks like an anthill, but let's dive into that bit. Upon studying the queen ant and finding the ancient virus in its genes, Alexia discovered that in each anthill is one queen. The soldiers and workers are the Queen's slaves, dedicating their lives to this Queen. The Queen dying dooms the entire anthill, but soldiers and workers can be replaced. And this is how Alexia saw the masses, as she puts it. This is just one example of her complete disregard for human life. She even saw her own inept brother as a mere loyal soldier ant. She'd also discovered that her father, Nosferatu, generated the poison gas inside his body, and the blue herb, regularly used to counteract poison, would provide no relief against its effect. So Alexia had created an antidote for it, just in case of emergencies. She had continued her research on the T. Veronica virus, impressed by its potential. She had a vision of herself awakening, having control of the virus and becoming the queen of the anthill, so to speak. And her aim is to unleash T. Veronica on the entire world, which will achieve what she claims is the perfect ecosystem. A worldwide anthill, if you will. Putting everything he has into fighting this monstrosity, Chris defeats her, and badly damaged, she mutates again, and this time the insects in her anthill join forces in order to protect her while she grows wings. She then takes to the air. With the linear launcher now fully charged, Chris takes aim and fires a devastating ball of energy, hitting Alexia, and she blows up. The Ashford line is now dead. Catching up to Claire whilst the facility self-destructs, he finds her being held at gunpoint by Wesker, who runs off with her. Going after them, Chris finds them in a submarine bay. Wesker congratulates Chris, and says that, as it turns out, Alexia's work didn't really amount to anything, and he states that he's going to take revenge on him. Wesker throws Claire back to Chris, and Wesker says he doesn't need Alexia, as he has Steve. Wesker obtained Steve's body, and collected the last remaining sample of the T. Veronica virus for his employer. He taunts Claire, telling her that maybe Steve will come back to life just as he did, knowing full well that will not happen. Chris once again tells Claire to go because he wants to finish this. Wesker and Chris then fight, but due to Wesker's new power and strength, Chris is easily overwhelmed by him. Seeing and taking his opportunity to hurt Wesker, Chris releases some steel beams from above them, and they fall off.
Damn.
He gets up and delivers a wry smile. An explosion ends up with fire separating them, and it burns Wesker's face. He tells Chris this is his lucky day, and Chris goes to meet up with Claire, with the two escaping with the fighter jet.
Yo, Chris's hair is insane.
There's something they've got to do, and that is to destroy Umbrella. And that concludes part 1 of this Resident Evil storyline series. It's mad to think everything we've spoken about in this video, from Resident Evil 0 up until Code Veronica, took place over the course of just 5 months. Now, part 2 of the series will be out next week, spanning from 2002 all the way to 2013, so make sure you hit subscribe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of the stream. Oh yeah, part 2 is already out, so I'm going to go ahead and save that for later, and we'll watch it tomorrow probably. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream, and until next time, see y'all next time. Peace.